What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. Making the turn here. Dan Kasper Show on the air. Radio dials. You got a couple of those. 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online. SportsTalk1051.com. You got your Google and Alexa home devices, the app. Video stream up and rolling on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. But happy Wednesday, already about halfway through the work week here, approaching the weekend. Stock reports are due today. Whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling right now. You can play along with us on that one. What else do we got on the game plan here this morning? Well, Brewers picked up the W last night against the Cardinals, 3-2. But might have come at a cost. Wade Miley leaving the game early in the second inning there with what the team is calling a left lat injury. Wade Miley will undergo an MRI later today to find out the extent of the injury. However, the Brewers, already putting him on the injured list. So doesn't breathe a whole lot of confidence into that. Starting pitching depth is starting to get pretty darn thin for the Brew Crew right now. Brandon Woodruff still on that injured list. Aaron Ashby at the beginning of the year having surgery, missing probably the whole season. All those are saying it could be towards the end of the season, but I mean, that's cross your fingers and hopeful, wishful thinking at that point. But now you got Wade Miley on there. Oof. Eric Lauer getting moved to the bullpen. He might have to come back out of the bullpen now. So starting pitching, that depth there coming pretty thin right now for the Brew Crew. And I think, that's just my opinion, but that puts a little bit more pressure on the dude who's going on the mound tonight for the Crew to try to pick up this series win, Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes, and it's not like he's been pitching awful, but it probably hasn't. Yes, and I think it's fair to say he hasn't been pitching at the level that we expected from him. I mean, is he pitching at a Cy Young level? No, he's not. He's not doing that. Having a little bit of an issue with some walks and such, strikeout numbers not as high as we would expect from Corbin. So I think one that puts a little bit more pressure on him, also puts a little bit more pressure on Freddie Peralta for those two guys, to kind of be, nothing's guaranteed, but pretty darn good chances every time they go out there on the mound, your team's going to come away with a W. Just puts a little bit more pressure on him. Puts a lot more pressure, too, on this Brewers bullpen, who did a good job last night. They did a really good job last night holding it down after Wade Miley left the game. They only allowed one run there in the fourth and such. So I mean, got to give them credit. I know the bullpen at the beginning of the season, first month of the season, was one of the best in baseball. It kind of faltered here as of late. You're looking at the ERAs and that not as good as they once were in the last month. But give them credit. They got the job done last night. Devin Williams, 5-out save for him, his 6th save of the season. So, but Brewers will try to win the series tonight. Cardinals making a pitching change for the game tonight. Originally scheduled was Adam Wainwright to go up against Corbin Burnes, but that has changed now. St. Louis is going to be going out there and throwing out Matthew Liberatore, left-handed pitcher. So, opting to throw out another lefty against the Brew Crew. But we'll preview this game coming up here in just a little bit. But, yeah. stinks, sucks about Wade Miley. Hopefully it's nothing that'll keep him out too long, but man, every time you hear shoulder injury, anything, whether it's a strain or what, when it comes to a pitcher, especially on their throwing one, you just like, you brace for the worst. You brace for it. You hate to say it, but man, stings. Brewers up 2 games in the division right now over the Pirates with that win last night for the Brew Crew. Other stuff. I'm gonna make this kind of a poll question here, but last night we saw the NBA draft lottery. San Antonio Spurs getting a number 1 overall pick, by the way, in case you missed it. But the ping pong balls and all that sort of stuff. And I want to know, and we'll kind of maybe make this our sports vigilante coming up next hour here. But would you like to which draft process do you like the most? Do you like the NFL where it's just, hey, worst record gets the number 1 overall pick, and you go in order that way? Or do you like the NBA's way of doing things where, all right, worst records, you get the better chances to get the number 1 overall pick, but it doesn't guarantee you to get the number 1 overall pick? Would you like to see the NFL go to a lottery system? I kind of mentioned it yesterday, but I think a good case study in this is going to be coming up this season, when we get to a point in the season, and I don't know, maybe we'll see it right away, but halfway through the season or at a certain point in the season when we kind of know the teams that are going to be in it and not in it. Like, are we going to see the clear and obvious tanking, whether it's for Caleb Williams or Drake or whoever it is? I'm thinking of the quarterback needy teams like Washington. I mean, what if they go out there and they just stink it up in the first couple months, and then it's just clearly okay, yeah, they ain't even trying anymore. They just want that number 1 pick. Throw in down another team into that equation who needs a quarterback right now. And the NFL doesn't want tanking, obviously. They don't want that. I mean, they fine and take draft picks away from teams who they find to do that. So when the NFL ever potentially move into a kind of draft lottery similar to the NBA. Now, I don't know if they ever would, but I can tell you this. Last night when we watched the draft lottery, if you watched the draft lottery, I watched a little bit of it. I watched the ending of it, last few picks there. It's the drama build up. I think we can all imagine the NFL would absolutely eat up and love doing a draft lottery show revealing it. I mean, come on now. They pump up everything. They got the combine on TV. They've got, Super Bowl week interviews up. If they could do something to make it an event, to put it on TV and draw that thing out, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So if the NFL was to change to a draft lottery, guarantee you they're going to make that an event, a one-night thing. And it's probably going to be like a 2-hour thing. All the teams that didn't make the postseason, you're put into a lottery because there's going to be more teams in that thing than what there is with the NBA. They can draw that sucker out. And you know what? We're going to watch. We're going to eat it up because that's what we do. So I kind of wonder if the NFL is a little bit intrigued about doing something like that. I don't know if they, I don't think it could change within a year. I'm sure they'll have to get approvals and proposals and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know. So I want to make that a question for you. Would you like to see the NFL, or I guess better question. Which draft process do you like? Do you like the NFL or do you like the NBA? That's simple. All right. That's simple. So we'll hit that up coming up a little bit later on. Packers coordinators, speaking of football, Packers coordinators talking a little bit with the media yesterday. That's Joe Barry, Adam Stenavich, Rich Bisaccia. Stuff that say there's a answer to a question from Jason Wilde by Rich Bisaccia that I absolutely love. I thought it was a great question and a fantastic answer by Rich Bisaccia on, with his experience now that he's an assistant head coach with that title added to it. Jason Wilde, covers the Packers, asked, how can you help this team, this young team, make that transition from an Hall of Fame quarterback? And I thought it was a fantastic answer by Rich Bisaccia. If you didn't hear it, I'll play it for you coming up a little bit later on. But, man, listening to Bisaccia's presser yesterday, I want to play for that man now too. That's why you kind of a small, tiny little glimpse of why you hear a majority of his players or former players say they love that guy, play for that guy. I mean, we just get a little sliver of a glimpse, but I love his mindset and what he has to say. So I'll get to that coming up a little bit later on too. Back to hoops in case you missed it, in case you don't care. Nuggets did get game 1 victory over the Lakers last night, but we got Celtics and Heat coming up here too. So we'll do another edition of Showdown coming up in the 8 o'clock hour too. So we'll hit that up a couple more years in round 2 as our bracket tournament continues here. So, but let's get things rolling here this morning. Let's kind of do a little bit of a smorgasbord to mix it up. We'll talk some baseball. Plus, I want to get your thoughts on the draft process. Would you like to see the NFL change to the NBA, or maybe you like to see the NBA change to the NFL? Which draft process do you like the most to determine who gets the number 1 pick? Or maybe there's a different way of going about it. Maybe there's a different way. Maybe you have a different idea of how it should play out. What do you think? Hit me up with some tweets at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. You can also comment on the video stream or hit me up with an email, dan@sportstalk1051.com. So let's take that first break, and then coming up on the leadoff, recapping the win last night. Wade Miley injured. How long? We don't know, but doesn't sound good. What are the Brewers going to do for the rest of their starting pitchers? And take a look at tonight's Game 3. Corbin Burns on the mound.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Now that we've gotten some decent weather, we're now more active outside, mowing the lawn, golfing, working on completing some projects. But with all that, that also means you're probably getting a little sore in the back, neck, and shoulders. It sounds like you need a quick adjustment, which means it's time to go visit Dr. Logan at Shepke Chiropractic. With us all being more active this time of year, chances are that we're going to need a few adjustments to our neck and back. That's why at Shepke Chiropractic, their goal is to work with each patient to achieve their goals and perform to their fullest potential in the capacity that their life requires. So don't let your neck or back pain slow you down on your busy summer. Let Shepke Chiropractic help you get adjusted so you're able to get those rounds of golf in or complete those outdoor projects this year. And Shepke Chiropractic has 2 locations to better serve you. All you have to do is visit ShepkeChiropractic.com to learn more and to schedule your appointment. Your journey to a healthier and more fulfilling life starts at Shepke Chiropractic.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, May 19th, with Stamatic of Western Wisconsin. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
The brand you trust, prices you'll like, the service you'll love every time you buy. Appliances for your home at Amundsen's.
Get more options in May at Amundsen's Appliance with Amana Top Load Laundry. Easy to buy, just $9.99 for the pair. In stock and ready for delivery. Amundsen's in Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, Rice Lake, and Hayward. Or shop us online at Amundsen'sAppliance.com.
Then the best place to buy is Amundsen's.
Menards is your one-stop shop for all your pet and wildlife supply needs. Plus, it's all 11% off. Give your feathered friends a treat with Enchanted Garden Premium Bird Food. Choose from a 20-pound bag of peanuts or wild finch mix for just $19.99 after 11% rebate at Menards. Good through May 21st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, this is Josh Smith from Union Trailer and Power Equipment. Looking to upgrade your mower this year? Now is the time to upgrade, as we have a large selection of Aaron's and Greyley's zero-turn mowers in stock with some great sale prices along with 0% for 48 months or large cash discount. Get into a new Aaron's zero-turn mower for as little as $92 a month with no money down. Don't forget about our free delivery within 20 miles of Union Trailer and Power Equipment. Hi, this is Josh Smith from Union Trailer and Power Equipment, Mahindra's official tractor of Tough. Spring is here, and Mahindra's the official tractor of spring savings, too. Get great deals on all Mahindra tractors, including 0% interest on select models, or save thousands with cash rebates. Get into a new Mahindra E-Max 20 with loader today with no money down for as little as $185 a month. Mahindra, the official tractor of Tough. Hurry into Union Trailer and Power Equipment for heavy-duty savings during the Mahindra Spring Sale. Stop into Union Trailer and Power Equipment today, located right in the Chippewa Valley off Highway 53 at the Melby Street exit.
Quality products, expert service, Union Trailer Sales.
Stand by as we continue our dig for the truth and the toy at the bottom of the cereal box. Oh, got it. The Dan Kasper Show.
Was at Princeton Valley yesterday afternoon, and the course looks absolutely fantastic. Josh and his entire team over there has done an amazing job over there. But getting ready already for the Casper Classic coming up on August 4th at the gorgeous Princeton Valley Golf Course. Want to make sure you get your two-person team signed up. Head to sportstalk1051.com because last couple of years it's sold out. So we've opened up a few spots here for you to get your two-person team in. So you want to do that. Again, head to sportstalk1051.com. For $90 for a two-person team, you get your 9 holes with cart, 3 free drink tickets, lunch provided by our good friends over at High V. So you can get that 10 a.m. tee time or 1 p.m. tee time. 10 a.m. tee time or 1 p.m. tee time. So go ahead and do that. Secure your spots. Okay, make sure you secure your spot on there. So, but looks fantastic out there. Looks fantastic. Big thanks to Hy-Vee and Carpet City Flooring Center and Economy Furniture for sponsoring so far. If you're interested in sponsoring or maybe doing some donations for the raffles, because it all benefits Backyard Dreams. All benefits Backyard Dreams. Hit me up. Got to order the title belts. We're gonna have the title belts again this year too. So we're gonna hit that up. have those available for the champions out there. All right, let's get things going here this morning. The leadoff, talking a little Brew Crew here. Brewers winning last night, picking up the W against the St. Louis Cardinals, 3-2. But it may have come at a cost. Wade Miley leaving the game in the second inning due to what the team is calling a left lat injury. Wade Miley already put on the injured list, the 15-day injured list, while the Brewers today will await the results of an MRI back in Milwaukee to get a firm diagnosis. But Wade Miley saying after the game, I made a lot of changes this offseason and through spring training. I've kind of taken a step forward and taking care of myself a little bit. Training staff's been awesome in keeping me healthy. My shoulder's been a non-issue since spring training. My elbow's been the thing that's bothering me more than anything. For this to pop up, it's baseball. We go through injuries. I'm just got to get through it and hopefully not too long and get back out there. But you look at it now, and it's like this starting pitching staff for the Brew Crew starting to get a little thin here. You had Woodruff, who went down in the second week of the season, out until late July, and that's at the earliest. Aaron Ashby hasn't thrown a pitch yet because of his shoulder injury and surgery. And Hauser, we just got him back. So he's going to be part of that. But Eric Lauer was just moved to the bullpen. Have to wonder if they're going to bring him back out of the bullpen and part of that starting rotation right now. Colin Ray was just optioned to AAA Nashville. So where do the Brewers go from here now? Good question. I don't know. I have no idea where they go at this point. I just don't. But I do think it puts a whole lot more pressure, a little bit more on the shoulders of Corbin Burnes and Freddie Peralta for sure. I mean, especially like Corbin Burnes, we're going to see tonight. He hasn't pitched at the level that we've all expected. And he hasn't been awful or terrible or anything like that. But I think it's fair to say hasn't been at that level that we expected. So I look at him as another guy, as one of these guys that, kind of has to all right, a little bit more on my shoulders. Got to step the game up a little bit. Got to go out there and be that dominating force. Same for Freddie Peralta. I want it so those two guys, and nothing's guaranteed, but I want it so those two guys, when they are on the mound, you're feeling pretty darn good about your chances of coming away with a W, with that win. Becoming pitching at an all-star level, being those dudes. And of course, it's going to be, Adrian Hauser is going to have to come in and be a staple in the starting rotation, not a liability. He's going to have to go in and be a solid contributor. Realistic expectations. I'm not expecting him to go out there and pitch at an all-star level and all of a sudden be one of the top pitchers in the league, but going out there and giving some quality starts. And then if Eric Lauer does get thrown in back into the starting rotation, which I think he will, hopefully he kind of gets back on track. I mean, he had a great outing coming out of the bullpen on Sunday. Is that enough to kind of spark, his return to the starting rotation? We'll find out. That's baseball. That's sports. But then it's okay, so you got Burnsy, you got Peralta, you go Adrian Hauser, then you got Eric Lauer. Well, if you do a typical 5-man rotation, then who's left on there? That's the question. What do you do at that point? I mean, you look at your AAA options. It's kind of limited. So do they do kind of a bullpen thing? Do they look out at the market? Do they make a move somewhere? Is it too early? I mean, how many teams at this point might be willing to part with a starting pitcher? I don't know. But we'll see in the next, maybe today or in the next couple of days here. The thing is, Brewers don't have to make a move right now in terms of like AAA until they get to that spot in Brandon Wood, or in Wade Miley's spot in the rotation. The only thing is that they got a stretch of games coming up here where they can't necessarily afford to maybe skip a turn here. Yeah, they got the off day tomorrow, but after tomorrow, straight up through Memorial Day. You got road series against Tampa. You come home against Houston, stay home against San Francisco. Then you get your off day on Memorial Day. Then you're back at it from May 30th to June 11th without an off day. So this is going to put a lot. It's going to put a lot on the shoulders of this pitching staff, both starters and bullpen. Bullpen pitched well last night. But is that something that you can rely on? And they had a good month of April. But is that something that you can kind of still keep putting your hat on and being reliable with? And it's just everybody's got to, we hear it a lot in like football, right? Next man up. Next man up. Well, it's also going to have to come from the offensive side of things for this team to help out this pitching staff. Give them some early run support. Give them some consistent run support. I mean, this is going to be kind of a up and down sort of thing. The thing that can help them out and continuing to win these games and win these series and remain in first place is the offense. Stepping up their game here a little bit too. Looking at the pitching matchups for tonight's and such. Liberatore doesn't have a whole lot of, Brewers, I should say, don't have a whole lot of experience against him. You're talking about like a game's worth of, even if that Christian Yelich has the most at-bats, and that's at 3. So I don't know how much you really put stock in there. But he is a left-handed pitcher. Brewers did get, go up against the lefty last night, got the win. But nonetheless, I'm sure that was part of the thinking for the Cardinals and switching Adam Wainwright's start around for this and throwing out a left-handed pitcher. Corbin Burns does have a lot of experience. And, hey, the Brewers actually have a pitcher that has had some decent numbers against Nolan Arenado, who hit another dinger yesterday. Was it 5 games in a row? But every time it feels like he plays the Brewers, the guy hits home runs. And he did it again yesterday. And he does have a home run against Burns in his 20 at-bats. But overall, he's hitting 200. A lot better than those other numbers of like over 300 or even 400 against Peralta and Miley. So maybe, just maybe, Nolan Arenado tonight won't hit a home run against the Brewers. Hopefully, knock on wood, that sort of thing. Other numbers against Corbin Burns. One guy who has had a lot of success against Corbin Burns throughout his career, though, is another noted Brewers hitting killer, Paul Goldschmidt, 345 in 29 at-bats. Just the one home run, but 345 in 29 at-bats. You've got Carlson, who's 133 and 15. Contreras has had practically like very limited success against Corbin Burns, and that might be putting it nicely. In 13 at-bats, 0.77. DeJong's 313 and 16 at-bats. Edmund 192 and 26. So, Cardinals hitters are very familiar with Corbin Burns. Flip side, Corbin Burns also very familiar with this lineup. So, who is going to win the pitching match the rubber match later on tonight? You're going to roll with the Brew Crew and their number one starter on the mound, Corbin Burns, or the Cardinals throwing out a lefty, who the Brewers don't have a ton of experience against. Corbin looking to build off of another win, or a win in his previous start against Kansas City back on the 12th, where he went 6 innings, 2 hits, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. I'm sure the Brewers will love Corbin Burnes to have another long outing to kind of give the bullpen an extra day off. I know we got the off day tomorrow, but with Wade Miley going out early in the game yesterday, Brewers hoping that Burnsy will, get in those 6 or 7 innings there and help out the bullpen a little bit. But you look at his last 3 games here, Corbin Burnes is 2-1, and he's gone 6 innings in his last 3. If you go back on the 29th against the Angels, he picked up the win, 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run. And even in his loss against the Giants, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. And then that Kansas City game, 0 earned runs. So will the bats be the difference in today's game? I think so. I mean, Corbin, I'm expecting, maybe a couple runs, giving up a couple runs. But can the bats for the Brewers come out to play tonight and give him the run support that he needs to go out there and pick up his 5th win of the season? And we have yet to see Corbin Burnes so far this year get double-digit strikeouts. We haven't seen him in any game hit at least 10 Ks. The most he's had in a game, you got to go back to April 11th against Arizona when he had 8. Now, his previous game against Kansas City, he had 7. That's the second highest. But that's kind of been the biggest thing I think a lot of us have noticed about Burnes is, well, one of them, the strikeout numbers maybe not as high as we expected, but also the walks issued. He's issued some walks in every single game besides 1. And it was that Arizona game on the 11th where he had 8 strikeouts and 0 walks. But even against Kansas City, issued 4 walks, the most of any game so far this season. 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3. And while some say, well, that's not a lot. I mean, you issued a couple walks. Maybe for Corbin Burnes, because he set that bar so high, it might be. Was it last year he set that record or had that run of without issuing a walk? So, I mean, it's kind of like, all right, you set that bar up there. Then when you do issue a couple walks, it's like, dude, what's going on? I'll go Brew Crew, though. Why not? I'll pick a W for the Brewers. Corbin Burnes goes out there, another quality start, 6 innings, gets just enough offense to get that W. All right, let's take a quick break here. I got the poll question up. Which draft sort of, I don't know, how do we want to call it? Which way of determining the draft order do you prefer? NFL's way, I'm just using examples like NFL's way, number 1 or the worst record gets number 1 overall pick. NBA draft lottery, hey, worst record, you get the best chances, but that doesn't necessarily mean you do get the number 1 pick. I feel like the NFL would love that because they can make it a big old event and make it a big old show and sucker us into watching something again. But what do you think? So vote on that Twitter poll that we got going on there. Plus, go over what the coordinators had to say yesterday for the Packers. Rich Bisaccia had a fantastic answer to a question from Jason Wilde yesterday. If you missed that, I'll play that here for you too. So we'll take that quick break, and then we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Price, quality, customer service. That's the big 3 I look for when I'm looking to get a big project done. And sometimes it can be hard to find all those 3 in one place. But when it comes to replacing your flooring, one place hits all 3 of my marks. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They hit the pricing mark because they will match or beat the competition if you happen to find a better deal elsewhere. Quality is pretty easy because they have all the best and top-of-the-line flooring options that you could ask for. They carry the best brands in carpet, tile, luxury vinyl, and more. And customer service. I could talk to you throughout this entire commercial about their customer service. It's easily one of the best, most courteous, helpful, and friendly staffs you could work with. They're with you through every step of the process, from finding the floor that fits your budget and what looks good and works best in your home or office. Taking on big projects can be a little nervous to think about, but when it comes to replacing your flooring, that nervousness goes away with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Just visit them today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire and see for yourself. Spring is here. Flowers and plants are starting to sprout, warmer temperatures. It's the beginning of a new season with all the changes going on, which also might inspire you to make some changes yourself, changes in your home. You thinking about replacing that couch or recliner? Or maybe you're doing some work on your home and you have some leftover home building supplies? What do you do with them? Easy. Donate them to the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. By donating to the Restore, you're helping out your community and helping fund home builds for families in our area. And while you're at the Restore, take a look around because you will never know what kind of treasures you can find at the Restore. Maybe you'll find that recliner that would look great in your family room or rec room, or that desk that would be perfect for your home office. So if the season changes are inspiring you to make some changes around your home as well, think about donating and shopping at the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. Plus, they offer pickup services if you don't have any means of getting that item to the Restore. Stop on in at the Restore today at 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire.
Economy Furniture in Chippewa Falls is something that you gotta see. The biggest selection for miles around, 2 jam-packed floors of quality. At Economy, you don't have to wait for a sale. It can be yours immediately. Everyday low prices on the best brand names, and we finance it interest-free. Furnishing the Chippewa Valley since 1950. Economy Furniture's for me.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Kofak Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Kofak Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit KofakChev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Kofak Chevrolet.
Sports. You love it. We love it. And quite frankly, I don't trust anyone who doesn't love it. Do you?
Is that a serious question?
The Dan Kasper Show.
Grilling season is here. Brats, burgers, steaks, ribs, whatever's on the menu for the summer. There's one place in the Chippewa Valley you need to visit, Mike's Star Market, especially when it comes to the brats. Mike's Star Market has the area's best and widest selection of brats in the area. So when you visit Mike's to pick out your selection of brats, maybe we suggest the Man Cave Light or the dill pickle with cheddar brats. Newest and best flavors at Mike's Star Market. Best time of the year is here. Visit Mike's Star Market. So you are yard barbecue king for this summer. We got G-Man saying Brewers will win 6-2 tonight and a day off and will win the series and will win the next series. And my stud is JR. Really stepped up to the plates. Oh, okay. JR, what did you do for G-Man there? Okay. Quick updates on the poll question that we got up on Twitter. So far, the majority of you favoring how the NFL goes about determining the NFL or their draft order. 76.9% of you saying Wirtz record gets number 1. All right, we'll hit that up in a little bit more detail coming up in the next hour. Yesterday we heard from some Packers coordinators, Bisaccia and Stanovich and Joe Barry. Joe Barry was first up. A couple of quotes from him saying that we can't be up one week and down the next. We got to find that consistency and show up every week. We don't have time to waste 10 weeks. He said his defense did a good job evolving late last season, but the inconsistencies gnawed at him. There are a number of things, and it starts with me, that I need to do better. He said situational football and explosive plays were a couple of areas that are things that they have to definitely be better at. In terms of maybe some position battles, because we got OTAs opening up next week for the Packers. Eric Stokes still isn't clear to practice yet. We haven't really quite heard the actual diagnosis on Eric Stokes' ankle injury, but Joe Barry also, kind of reiterating that he suffered a significant ankle injury last year. So it's going to be Douglas and Jair with Keyshawn Nixon getting the first crack at playing that nickel corner. So, but also not sure who's going to start at safety next to Darnell Savage, but that's why it's only May at this point. Adam Stenovich on Jordan Love's development last year. I think his handle of his ability to translate the meetings to the field and his ability to see the game from a quarterback's perspective, where he's not processing too fast, he's processing in the time of play. From a playbook standpoint, I think pretty much all of it is on the table. He's been around for 3 years and really attacked it. I think last year you saw him hitting on all cylinders. How about the offensive line? Kind of up in the air at this point, too. Steno saying we've got a lot of competition on the right side, whether it's right tackle, right guard, or even center. I mean, Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins kind of have the left side all figured out. Specifically about Zach Tom, I know right now Zach is going to get a lot at right guard and right tackle and even possibly at center. So Rich Bisaccia, who also has the assistant head coach title now added to his name. I thought there was a couple things he said yesterday were of interesting to me. One of them was he kind of mentioned that Brian Gutekunst has asked him for his opinion on some players and such. Matt LaFleur, same thing. So seems like, I mean, Matt LaFleur has sung the praises of Rich Bisaccia ever since he's been in Green Bay since last year. And obviously after 1 year getting him the assistant head coaching title. But it really seems like Goody kind of involving him on some player personnel stuff, probably more specifically with, obviously special teams and what kind of players he wants to improve, with that special teams group and such. But I have to imagine, he was very instrumental in the Packers drafting a new kicker, Anders Carlson from Auburn, because, well, Rich Bisaccia actually recruited his brother Daniel too to Auburn and had him a little bit there in the NFL too. But he didn't close the door yet on Mason Crosby. He said we're still in conversation. I think Brian has spoken that the door is not closed and he's not on anybody's team yet. But he said Crosby is excited for what's next. And Bisaccia was also asked yesterday about, he's been around the league or coaching for 40 years and has been around the NFL for a while now. I thought it was a great question from Jason Wilde yesterday about how can you help this now young team with this transition that they're going into. How can he essentially use that experience and help out this team and such? And I thought it was a really great question, and it was a fantastic answer by Rich Bisaccia. So I have it up here in case you missed it yesterday. I'll play it if it's going to load up here for me here in a second. But it was just, I thought, a great question and a fantastic answer by Bisaccia. Here we go. Today was hard. Tomorrow was harder. Yesterday was easier. I love that he brought that up as he mentioned too. You taught that in the service and such. But I loved that mindset from Rich Bisaccia, and I think you know kind of maybe an underrated part in this whole thing. With the transition, Matt LaFleur is still a very young head coach. He's entering his 5th year as a head coach, but it's just his 6th year as an offensive play caller because he called plays for the Titans for 1 year, was offensive coordinator with the Rams, but didn't call plays there for Sean McVay. So, moving with this transition, moving on from Aaron Rodgers, this bigger than life persona for the Packers, get a younger coach there. Kind of wonder how big of a role will Rich Bisaccia, not only because he does have the assistant head coach title attached to him, but kind of the veteran of the group. And I know Joe Barry's been around here for a while too. But Steno is a young offensive coordinator, younger coach. You hear all these positive, former players, current players speak glowingly of Rich Bisaccia and wanting to play for him. Even Aaron was talking about it in the offseason with his boy Pat, saying that Rich Bisaccia should be a head coach, and Aaron's only been with him for 1 year. But I think with this younger team, with this younger team and with the inexperience, Rich Bisaccia might play a little bit of a bigger role instead of just coordinating the special teams. That's a big part. It's a focal part of the team. But he might have a little bit more of a role in his overall team now, considering the respect that he has with his teammates, the respect that he has amongst, his fellow coaches on the team. You mentioned a little bit earlier, kind of being a springboard for Matt LaFleur, because he was asked, hey, what other roles do you have now that you have the title of assistant head coach? And kind of downplayed it a little bit, but he kind of said, if, helping with maybe some practice schedules and just kind of being that soundboard for LaFleur. Might have to be, a little bit more of that this year, and just kind of being maybe that calming presence. That present that figure of stability for a young, inexperienced team. So I thought it was a great answer. I thought it was a great question. Fantastic answer. And maybe we need to, kind of when we look at this team and look at, the prospects and the guys who kind of have to step up and, be a guy and next man up. Maybe don't overlook the special teams coordinator / assistant head coach now. All right. Get those votes coming in. Which draft process do you prefer? Do you prefer the worst pick gets the number 1 overall pick, or do you like how the NBA does it? And they did it last night with the lottery. Just because you have the worst record doesn't mean that you are going to get the number 1 overall pick. You get the best odds, but it doesn't mean that you are going to get the number 1 overall pick. Sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes it doesn't. Just happen. It's the magic of the ping pong balls. I'm a little surprised. 81.3% of you saying, yeah, you prefer worst record gets number 1. We'll get to that coming up in the next hour, but we'll finish up the second hour with Morgan. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, Casper, what's a good word?
Not a lot.
Nice new shirt. Where'd you get that?
Good old Shields.
Dad life is good with what looks like what? Sasquatch?
2 Sasquatches.
Little guy into dad.
Yep.
That's good shirt.
Yep.
So how's little guy liking ball?
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah?
Yep.
That's it? You think that's a sport, or you think he's gonna, as he gets older, change up?
He's into all of it right now. We've got 2 basketball hoops. We got our own court now. So he goes a little back and forth. He told me the other day he wants to play cornerback in football because he wants to tackle.
He wants to hit.
He wants to tackle. So
all right.
So he's going to be all over the place.
That's good. Yeah. Siggy started softball, which is her number 1 passion. And that was verified by coming out of track season. They were at one of their meets I do believe we were in New Richmond. And she was hanging out with the team, and she was on the 4x2. she had the baton. They were just waiting for their calls to start, like track meets. So much of it's waiting around for your event. And while she was doing that, she was using the baton as a bat and practicing her swing. I'm like, yep, that's a sure sign that you have a ball player on your hands and not so much a runner. So softball season underway.
On golf swing too.
Have you been out yet to do any golf stuff?
No.
Oh, dude.
I went to the driving range. I'm so busy.
You said this was the season that you were going to perfect your golf game.
I know.
Okay.
I know. That's my goal.
Not piling on. I'm just hoping we could get you out
I
there.
gotta figure out food plots and
food plots.
Gotta get ready for hunting season. There's no time off.
Oh man, you got to give yourself some time to get out on the course. Pick a day and make that your golf day. You got the Kasper Classic coming up.
Set aside a day a week.
You do, and consider it like a to-do list.
It's expensive though too. That's the other thing. So
you know what? Everything is. I just spent the weekend trying on batting helmets and all that kind of stuff.
Put them on?
Yeah, just sit in the stands. I like to embarrass my kid as much as I can. Big foam finger. I put the helmet on.
Nice.
For her. And as they get older, man, any parents that have kids in sports know that the sport really is watching your money go and then trying to chase it all down when you. And
the other thing Hudson wants to get into is golf now too. So
yeah.
I got him a putter, but I said work on your small game first, and then we'll get up there.
There you go. Take him out with you.
Well, he wouldn't last a hole.
Take him on the minis.
He is so he'll do mini golf, but he is so like one thing, and then he's got to move on to the next. He can't focus on.
So he doesn't have the patience for like an 18 hole.
Yeah, no. He'll want to do something else.
Work your way up there. Well, you can take a swing on the golf course and a swing at your Wednesday wild card. We got to get one of these and find out a little bit more about everybody's favorite sports guy, Dan Kasper. We're shuffled up the deck. He's going to pull a card out and answer this for us today from the random question generator. What are you bored of? I think we're all bored of the Rogers saga. That's gone.
Yeah.
What do you think now?
What am I bored of?
Anything like social media stuff?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Like what?
That's a tough one.
You're
what
just
am I
like
bored of?
Inundated with it. It makes you yawn a little bit. You know what I'm bored of right now? If you're listening to podcasts or anything like that, and it was really like it just stuck in and nobody would stop saying they were going down the rabbit hole. I'm sick of people going down the rabbit hole. It's boring. Think of something new. Like, what are you bored of that you're just like, meh, I've done it. Sick of it.
That's a really good one. I don't know. I feel like there should be a lot. I don't know off the top of my head.
Let's shift it into the sports world then. What player are you bored of?
LeBron James.
Yeah, but you're just hating now because he's not your guy. Did you watch Air, the Jordan movie?
I want to. I have not seen it yet.
You're a Jordan guy, so there you go. You should watch that.
Yep. Yeah, I was watching clips of it actually yesterday, and I want to see it.
Yeah,
so.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what are you bored of? LeBron James is going to be your final answer? Okay.
The NBA right now. So, there you go.
Yawn.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Good morning. Here's what we're learning today. Begin with an update from the Eau Claire Police Department, and we now know a person in custody for last Friday's deadly wreck in Eau Claire is Kenneth Van Meter, who police say was drunk and speeding when he crashed into a car last Friday night. Eau Claire police say they are recommending homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle charges in the case. The DA's office not saying when those formal charges could be filed. Well, looking at the courts, there'll be a pay hike on the checks of some public defenders and assistant DAs. It appears that those public defenders and assistant district attorneys in Wisconsin will be getting a pay increase. Fond du Lac County DA Eric Toney joined Republican lawmakers at the Capitol on Tuesday, saying,
"There's no doubt in my mind this is going to be a transformational budget for prosecutors to help us retain and recruit amazing prosecutors to help keep our communities safe, working hand in hand with law enforcement."
Looking at the numbers, starting pay for public defenders and assistant DAs would increase to $36 an hour, about $75,000 a year. And that is more than what was sought by Democratic Governor Tony Evers in his new 2-year state budget. While we're in the courts, a state law aimed at protecting victims of violent crimes will stay on the books in Wisconsin. Getting this update yesterday, the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled the wording of the law is constitutional and was properly written on ballots. The law passed in 2020 and expands the rights of victims of crimes. That year, a judge in Dane County ruled the law was improperly enacted, but yesterday's decision by the the Supreme Court overturns that ruling. Well, you might want to look up before you put the pedal down. If you're speeding, you could get clocked for a ticket from the sky. State Patrol is continuing with its aerial enforcement this week, and troopers were out in Rock County yesterday. They'll be in Kenosha County today and then Eau Claire tomorrow. Just a heads up there. State Patrol says it's telling people about the flights in hopes that it might get you to slow down a little bit on Wisconsin interstates. Well, the home of the green and gold gets a gold medal. U.S. News and World Reports has a list of the best places to live, and Green Bay tops it in terms of the best place to live in the world. And so definitely they're getting some high rankings there. And get this, while you have that Cafe Caruba and Glazers in your hand, you're helping Quick Trip get top of the list for a new USA Today ranking, naming Quick Trip the best gas station in America. And while you're making a stop at Quick Trip and heading up to the campsite, what about those skeeters? Don't forget the spray.
There are 3,500 species of mosquitoes around the world. There's no mistake if one's flying near you. It's a distinctive buzz, but it's only the girl mosquitoes who do the biting. And if they're after you, there's hope. A new study by researchers at Virginia Polytechnic Institute say if mosquitoes are biting you, it's because you're too clean. The research says mosquitoes are attracted to the smell of some soaps as well as the smell of no fragrance at all. Scientists say if you're trying to repel mosquitoes by smell, try coconut oil. Mosquitoes don't like that smell at all. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
And when you swing by Wahlburger and get one of those man cave lights, tell me what you think, because I like them, but I got to tell you, after you've had a few of them, it's
a distinctive buzz.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
More sunshine will be on tap for today, but it'll be a little bit cooler as highs only climb to the upper 60s and low 70s. Later on tonight, a few clouds will start to trickle in ahead of a chance at some showers and storms going into later tomorrow afternoon as highs return to the mid 70s. This will set us up for a cooler end to the work week with highs only reaching the upper 50s and low 60s by Friday. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
The wheels keep turning in the fields across the corn and soybean fields of this country. Let's take a look at some of our farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. That's because farmers are planting. 65% of the corn has now been planted across the country, up 23 points from a week ago. Our top two corn growing states in great shape. Iowa having 86% of their corn in, Illinois 84%. Minnesota growers also made good progress last week. 61% of the corn in there. Soybean planting also progressed nicely last week, although not as much as for corn. 49% of the beans are now in across the country. Illinois leading the way with 77% of their beans in the ground. Iowa 69% planted. Wisconsin farmers also made good planting progress last week, putting in another 19% of their corn. We now have 33% of the corn planted across the state. It's a little ahead of last year, but well behind our 5-year average of 45% by this time. State farmers have also gotten 24% of their soybeans planted. That's about the same as last year, but 6% behind our 5-year average. For other spring planted seeded crops, 54% of the oats are in. Potato growers have planted 62% of their crop. This week's report also shows the winter wheat crop is rated 82% good to excellent across the state this week, with hay fields rated 76% good to excellent. Topsoil moisture hanging in there, 98% adequate to surplus, just 2% short. Current and ongoing uneven dairy prices challenging not only our conventional dairies, but also the organic dairy industry. New numbers from Mercaris Data Service, which track trends in organic agriculture, show the organic dairy herd in this country fell 4% last year to 513,000 head, lowest number in the past 6 years. That coincides with a 7% drop in organic dairy farms in 2022. The biggest drops in organic dairies seen in Vermont, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, and Wisconsin. That's a look at some farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. I'm Bob Bosold.
Who doesn't love Hy-Vee? Once you walk in the store, you're in for quite the shopping experience. So grab yourself a coffee and check out everything Hy-Vee has to offer. From their top-of-the-line produce section, A-plus bakery, a deli department that includes so many different cheeses you didn't even know existed, a superb meat department, and even shoes. Plus the best wine and spirits department in the area. And once you're done shopping or need to grab a bite to eat, they have many different options in their food court, including the popular Wahlburgers. Experience the Hy-Vee experience yourself today.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Save now on the garden essentials to brighten up your outdoor spaces. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement.
Crank it up. Hey, are you ready to take? Get up. He's on his way. He's our man. The man, the myth, the legend. That's Dan. And now, the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, second hour kicking off right now on this Wednesday morning of May 17th. Appreciate you all tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in on this fine Wednesday morning, making the turn Wednesday. Stock reports are due. Whose stock is rising? Whose stock is falling? You can let us know. Reminder, we're transitioning between texting services, so you can't hit us up with the text. Hit us up on the socials, or you can hit me up with an email and such. Snail mail might not get here in time, so just saying. So, but got other avenues, or on the video stream, you can comment on there too. Coming up, we'll play a little sports vigilante, talking about determining draft orders with the NBA draft lottery last night. Spurs getting the number one pick. There's some talk about, the NFL with, could we see some teams tanking maybe for Caleb Williams? Should they change their draft order? Well, according to a clear majority so far on Twitter, you prefer how the NFL does it. So we'll hit that up coming up in just a little bit. We got Showdown coming up next hour as well. But let's do some sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Yancey Associates. It was this day, the New York Yankees and the Cleveland Indians set a record when they used 41 players in a game. We got Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh in 1969 agreed to move from the NFL's NFC to the AFC. Hank Aaron in 1970 became the 9th player to get 3,000 hits. Let's go with Gary Carter, 1992, became the 3rd player to play catcher in 2,000 games. And I think we can all imagine this in our memories. The picture, even if you didn't watch the game, you could probably think of some of these pictures in your minds. 1998, David Wells became the 13th player in modern Major League Baseball history to throw a perfect game. Those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Yancey Associates. Also, we got some stock reports due, so whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling. You can send those on over. We'll get to ours just past the 8 o'clock hour this morning. Look, do you prefer the NBA draft or lottery, or NFL worst record gets the number one pick?
I don't know that I really prefer one way or the other, because I think it's different dynamics. It's tough to tank in the NFL because there are fewer games, and each game gets more visibility. There's more pressure to try game in.
Is there, do you know off the top of your head, is there penalties? Like, I mean, the guy would have to admit, like, we know, like, inadvertently, but like we've, wasn't the Dolphins got penalized for like the whole like tanking thing because of the Brian Flores thing. Right. So obviously they got penalized. I mean, teams aren't going to come out and say it, but I haven't heard anything like that from the NBA where a team has like, we could kind of see when teams are really trying to do it, right?
Right.
In the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Then they magically get the cold envelope for the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But I got to imagine the NBA does have a penalty for tanking. I just don't think it's ever been enforced.
I think it has to be, well,
a coach or somebody saying, yeah, we're tanking for the number one pick.
It's, no one says it. Mm-hmm. It's just like, because how do you necessarily know? Well, we're resting this player. I guess we have a strategic reason for it. The strategic reason is, but no, there have been rules, but that's for saying it. Mm-hmm. But it's also easier to do in the NBA because, I mean, a team could basically skate through their whole season. You barely even know they exist. on the lower end because there are more games involved. And so then you wake up one day, you're like, wow, their record's bad, but then you're not paying super close attention unless you're a fan of one of those teams. So I think it applies best for both. I mean, and given also not just the attention that NFL games have, because there are fewer games. It's part of the reason why the NFL is popular, because there's a scarcity of product. If the NFL had 82 games in a season, it would not be as popular because we wouldn't make as big of a deal out of every game, understandably so. Gosh, if the NFL were 10 games long, it'd be even bigger of a deal because there are fewer games involved. But also fantasy football makes a difference because if you've got... I think that makes it tougher to tank nowadays in the NFL because if a team rested their talented star player, if they're a bad team, people start getting outraged about that. You start hearing about that more. And again, like it said, teams will do what they do. Fans can be outraged, but a team is going to do what they do. But it's human nature. There's going to be pressure to not do that overall. I'm sure Roger Goodell and company would give that team a call and be like, really, what's going on here? So no, I don't think it really happens that much. If you're going to try to tank in the NFL, it's going to be off-season stuff like certain types of trades. But I don't really see that happening like in season where suddenly you're resting your star quarterback after week 12.
Well, I think if you're going to tank in the NFL, you probably don't have a star quarterback to begin with.
Also that.
Yeah. So, I mean, because everybody's kind of, I think the good test is going to be this year when we get to a certain point in the season. Are there going to be a couple teams that are clearly not going to be going to the postseason? And does that all of a sudden turn into the chase for the Caleb Williams pick, number 1 overall, whether it's Washington or some other team? Let's just assume that you got a couple teams like at the halfway mark or something like that. It's clearly they're not going anywhere, this year.
Yeah.
Will it be kind of clearly evident at some point that they just ain't trying too hard?
I think some are going to try. It won't be the blatant tanking of the NBA and now Major League Baseball. That's a thing. I think, yeah, like Oakland's. Oh, I'm not sure what's up with Oakland at this point. When Houston did it, when Chicago did it, those were blatant tanking operations, and both of them worked. They won World Series. I think there'll be some of that. I think also that the sport itself does not lend itself well to tanking. Part of tanking is a lack of motivation while you're playing the game itself. NBA, you can jog around for 60 minutes if you really want to.
Would it be fair to say that I think the NFL, or we think the NFL, would actually be intrigued with a draft lottery like the NBA?
I think okay. For one, they would in the sense that,
they can make it in events.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, anything. Own the calendar. Well, I'm sure there's been some discussions of that. But it seems.
I feel like they would because of the money-making event that they could.
Yeah.
They can make that a 2-hour show. Throw it on NFL Network. They can make it like a draft night. They can extend that thing. Because the other part of that here, too, is they would have more teams involved in the lottery because they don't have as many teams going to the postseason like the NBA. So they could come up with some really funky stuff if they want to do a tier 1, tier 2, whatever. They could do all that stuff. I feel like the NFL would like it if they can make it an event, which is a money-making event. Throw it on another streaming partner.
That's where I don't think they would go all teams that don't make the playoffs.
No, I think they would have to do a tier thing sort of thing.
Yeah, because then you have the prospect of a 9-win team getting the star quarterback. And that is
no different than the prospect of a 7-win team making a postseason and a 10-win team not making it.
True, but that gets against the concept of parity. The whole point is if you're bad, you can get good really fast. If some team ends up in I speak from experience as a Timberwolves fan who constantly saw my team year after year after year always fall in the lottery and never move up. Well, then you're constantly missing out on those top teams. And yes, a lot of it was on management and ownership of why that team performed so poorly for so many years. But also, if your lottery luck doesn't work out, at a certain point, you start to, get apathetic about your team. The NFL does not want an apathetic fan base. They need their fans engaged. And that's why if your team is bad, hey, guess what? You can get that star quarterback and you could be in the playoffs the next season. Worst to first happens all the time. I actually think, as much as the notion of a lottery, and yeah, it sure sounds tempting, sounds good, I actually think they value the prospect of, like in this upcoming season, it'll be like the Cardinals or, I got Kyler Murray, but the Cardinals are one of those other teams. They can get Caleb Murray or someone and be in the playoffs next year. And that gives those fans hope that they're not going, oh, great, but the lottery balls are going to go the wrong way and we're screwed for another year. And then all that other stuff comes up. I could see them doing the lottery. Totally. Like, I think there's probably, I'd say there's like a 30% chance. Though the fact that I haven't really seen it discussed at all makes me think it's probably not really on their radars.
Albert Breer just mentioned it the other day.
What did he say, like, in terms of prospects?
I didn't read. I know he just kind of mentioned it in terms of, like, kind of relating it to this year again about the whole Caleb Williams
the
example.
Yeah.
And kind of relating it to the lottery prospects for the NFL. I'll have to bring it back up here, but it's going to take me a little bit to find here. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think, and of course, not every year is going to have the potential superstar guy coming out. And also, we don't know how Caleb Williams is going to perform as they said Caleb Murray. Caleb Williams is going to perform as the season goes along. There are a lot of factors. I would not be shocked if they do it, though, because, it is such a potential moneymaker. But again, they have to be careful with that because that goes against the thing that has made the NFL's bigger than anything. The thing that has made them so popular is parity and the notion that all 32 teams have a chance.
Albert Breer, legit excited for the draft lottery. I also think there's probably going to be a lot of debate about the NFL doing this after what'll ensue later this year when the teams at the bottom start tanking for Caleb Williams and Drake May.
If there is a lot of tanking, now if teams actually go ahead and do it, then we're onto something. And look, if teams do start tanking, see, that I think part of the issue is also that they, like I said, it's very tough to tank. But if teams are going to start doing it, if they're going to throw away games, I want to see a team try to go like 70% on the field when the team against you is 100%. In such a high impact physical game, that's not a safe game either. If that does happen, though, then the lottery talk goes way up, and that 30% goes up to 70% real fast. And then I think it probably does happen. Now, they probably also I think they actually do a really restricted lottery. I think it'd be more like top 3, top 4 teams, as opposed to so many others. Again, that keeps the parity thing in line. That way you don't have a team that maybe had some bad schedule luck suddenly is in position to win it. They need to enforce it on the teams that are at the bottom, where some are really bad, some are tanking. All right, so we're going to throw like you top 4, top 5 teams in, as opposed to even the tiers. I think that's what they would end up doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still the concept of a lottery. If you're going to do the lottery, it's still going to get attention. If it's 3 teams, if it's 13 teams, it will get attention.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think it's a little too hard to do a draft lottery in the NFL. I think the NFL would absolutely, if they got to that point, would pump up that crap so much for a league that does a whole day in networking on schedule releases, and that for them to have a draft lottery, even if it was just 3, 4, 5 teams, they would make that into a 2-hour event with 4 teams on there.
I think the only problem is they got to find a window where they don't own the schedule already. And right now that's the summer, and you can't really do the lottery in the summer.
They could do it combines in the end of February. I mean, you got March.
Then it's
March is free agency there, but I would say,
like,
you'd have to do it fairly quickly after the season. I mean, you could still do it in the postseason like the NBA does.
But then you're not owning the schedule because they already own the schedule in postseason. Like
You
every
do
day
it.
still.
You do it the week between the conference championships and the Super Bowl.
Actually, if it took the place of the Pro Bowl, I'd be happy.
There you go. Yeah.
Why not?
Make that a part of the Pro Bowl events.
I would be more likely to watch that than anything Pro Bowl related, to be perfectly blunt.
You know how many people would watch an NFL draft lottery?
Everybody
would.
Well, if your team's involved, especially.
Yeah.
If the Packers are involved in a draft lottery,
yeah,
I will watch that over the Pro Bowl for sure.
100%.
Okay, well, that might actually be the solution. That actually gets away from the annoying own the calendar thing because it's already NFL season anyway. All right. If they do the lottery, that might be the best time to do that. It syncs with, like you said, with the NBA concept. It syncs pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, and then that way you don't, if you go into the combine, teams already know their order, and they don't have to wonder, hey, are we going to be able to get this guy or, would target or whatever,
Yeah.
And then maybe would there be the potential of teams trading more trades for those top picks? Say it's the Spurs situation where they got the number 1 pick because of Tim Duncan, because David Robinson was hurt that year. And, but say it's like a quarterback situation. Teams. So maybe a better example is this. Like when the Patriots, Tom Brady got hurt week 1. If Matt Castle doesn't go out there and win 11 games, Patriots probably have a high pick, right? That was not the norm. That was the exception.
Right.
Well, Patriots at that point is probably like, yeah, we ain't going to trade Tom Brady. So we got the number 1 pick. We don't need this quarterback. We're for sale. Maybe there's some more trading.
You could have trade machinations. Oh, by the way, I did watch Draft Day.
Oh, my goodness.
I did watch.
Did you rent it from the library?
I checked it out from the library, and I watched it, and, I mean...
It's not a good movie, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, that exactly. Like it's you can follow the plot pretty easily. If you're an NFL type, if you know the league, of course, there's a whole lot of really, but it's okay. It's the classic Hollywoodization of anything. There's so many things that are super simplified and stripped down and history modified and procedure altered to make a hour and 45-minute long story work. If it were real life, it would not have that level of drama. I mean, I can't tell you how many things never would happen there. Though I did find it funny that when I was just reminding myself of all the errors with Draft Day, then there's like Steve Keim coming on saying, actually, this is just like it is. I'm like, what? Well, I guess if he came from the Cardinals, and I suppose even the notion of getting it on with a fellow employee and sexual harassment issues might also be part of real life there, but that's a whole nother story with the Cardinals. But I get, like, okay, fine. Yeah, you're not making those kind of trades.
There's no GM in the world. I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin the plot line for some people. There's no GM in the world that would trade 3 second-round picks for a top 10 pick.
Right? No.
And then in the next place, that GM takes those picks and then actually flips them for a top 10 pick.
No.
There's just that. No.
And a special teams guy.
No. There's no way in the world that would ever happen.
No.
That happened. That GM who agreed to the trade of giving up a top 10 pick for 3 second rounders would get fired.
Why do I have picture Mike Ditka with dreadlocks?
I do like the fact, though, that they used the Jaguars GM as that guy. Although that's changed, but still, it's, at that point in time, it was like, yeah.
I was just ripping on the Jaguars. Well, I mean, you saw the Titans or in the schedule video, right? Yeah. They don't even exist.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the funniest parts of that video, honestly. Jaguars aren't even all that bad right now. So yeah, all in all, I think it could lead to more trades for sure. There are a lot of possibilities with this. I think just in terms of the game, take out the money and what can we make and grow the game. That just in a general sense, I think there are a lot of positives to doing that. But I still don't know if tanking really will be an issue this season. I guess this is the experiment. I don't know that it will happen, and I still don't know the NFL is still going to be wary of the parity thing. because that's really helped to grow the game, and they don't want to go away from the notion of parity. Then again, the NBA is having really good ratings right now in the playoffs too, and they're not a parity organization or team organization.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a main issue with how the NBA draft lottery goes?
Because they've tweaked it so many times. I think the only issue, and again, this comes from my fandom, that like if your team falls in the lottery X number of years, then I think that team should almost be, I don't know if you can, how you slot them higher, because at a certain point, like, I mean, I guess you're rewarding incompetence to a certain degree, but if your team is constantly losing draft position because of plastic ping pong balls, that seems to be antithetical to the concept of team improvement. That's the lottery is there to avoid tanking. If your team is not tanking, but your team is consistently.
So let me throw this scenario out there, because we're playing a kind of a version of sports vigilante here. Because I've seen people talk about this for football when it comes to, like, you know, maybe the last game or so, like it's still finding an incentive to play, and then you get rewarded with remember they were talking about that with like a Pro Bowl or something, weird stuff like that. Instead of the Pro Bowl, the two worst teams play. Well, it's like, well, those players in those teams probably don't give a crap about if they got the first pick or not.
Right.
They might not even be there.
Yeah.
NBA is all about playing tournaments, and they're doing all this sort of stuff. Could you see, and maybe that's the answer there too, is like, well, those players might not care, but maybe if there's more money involved in it.
Yeah.
Do they do a 4-team tournament?
I think I saw Bill Simmons propose something like that, like a tournament for the number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said that a few times over. So actually, it's not a bad idea. Granted, having some sucky NBA basketball, and it is a little contradictory to be like, you got to win to get the pick for what it should be the worst team. Like, shouldn't the loser get that by definition, because they're really that bad? Because again, the reason we have the draft as is, this is getting to like 101. This exists so that the worst team has the chance to get the best possible player to get good again, for the sake of the league, for solid fan bases in all 30 markets, have more marketability, et cetera, et cetera. That's why that exists. If we don't have a draft, if it just became total free agency, well,
which some people actually want. Some people actually don't want a draft. I think Pro Football Talk has been one of those too.
Yeah, well, and that would go to the soccer model, which that has thrived. Now, the downside to the soccer model is you will get haves and have-nots real quick. And you better believe, like, for example, the Milwaukee Bucks, once Giannis is done, will essentially be a second-tier permanent NBA team. They're not going to be, they have all the money. They're not going to get those players. Will not happen. Kind of to a certain degree, the same applies to the Timberwolves. Bigger markets, yes. Colder environment, that's a big minus. That would be terrible for the NBA. I think it would be bad for the NFL too. Again, we saw the player poll. Well, those are a whole lot of destinations where players wouldn't want to go. Right. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So then why are we having teams in those markets? You might as well contract. I mean, and maybe you do that. Maybe, gosh, we're getting super big picture here, and maybe you don't need to have as many teams if people are still watching and they want to watch the stars. So, all of this being said, there are ways to modify these lotteries and these drafts. There's still there's a platonic ideal for each league. I mean, the NHL does it too. We just saw the lottery and the Blackhawks came out on top.
But shouldn't a team like the Oakland A's, who are clearly, we don't know what the heck they're doing, should they be rewarded for what they're doing with the number one overall pick?
Not at all. And that's where a baseball lottery would make sense this year. They are trying to be as bad as is possible right now. And I'm not even entirely sure if it's to get good later on. If and when they move to Vegas, I mean, who knows which site they're going to have next week
Right.
in Las Vegas. Are they necessarily going to suddenly spend the money? And I mean, if Billy Bean's there, they've got a shot. But after that, are they going to be like a 50-win team going forward in Vegas and just be like, hey, but we're in Vegas. Come watch baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily want to reward them. Well, and then here's the other thing on top of all of this, and why maybe the lottery thing doesn't matter. How many times do we see the number 1 pick not pan out? Number 2 doesn't. Number 3 does. 4 doesn't. 5 does.
Right.
6 doesn't. We don't know with any of this. Like, it doesn't.
How many times is that number 1 pick in the NBA? I mean, I can think of some big men's right now. That's why they were talking about Portland. Oh boy, I'm not going to say his name, but the 7'4" Frenchman,
Victor Wembanyama.
Thank you, Victor. I'm just going to say Victor.
Webby.
Webby.
I think I've seen a little bit more of that. Go with Webby.
Look at Portland's history of drafting number 1 big men. Hasn't worked out very well.
No.
Sam Bowie and Greg Oden.
Right.
I'm thinking of some other big men. Emeka Okafor, Dwight Howard, that draft. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Kwame Brown. Darius Miles. We can think of them all over the place. They don't always work. So, I mean, okay, if there's ever a prospect where it's going to work, it's Victor Wembanyama.
Okay. We got to get into that, though, too.
Okay.
Are you buying? We got to take a break first.
Okay.
So, because we went a little OT here. Woj is like in love with this guy. Did you see what he was saying about him? Some of his comments?
I haven't, but I've heard so much hype at this point. I think nothing would
it's
surprise
kind
me.
of like a receiver defer.
Okay.
Sort of thing. So, but we're in a little OT. So, quick break, and then is this just like I don't know. I'm just gonna say the quote, and I want to get a reaction from you.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
This is one of my favorite times of the year. Nice weather, golf, vacation time, little league games, enjoying the warm weather before it's gone because it's Wisconsin and you never know. But it seems like this time of year also goes by quicker than any other time of the year. And we know time doesn't speed up. It's just because we're so busy doing so many different things that it just seems like we never have enough time. Before you know it, we're already into fall and hunting season. So this is my quick reminder to you hunters that even though we're heading into spring and summer, time is going to be flying on by and we are going to be preoccupied by so many things. So don't forget to get that new deer rifle or new shotgun before the fall hunting season from Tilden Gun. Whether you're looking for new or used, Tilden Gun has the best selection of firearms to choose from, all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. Now is the time to start getting ready for fall hunting season. So don't let it sit on the back burner during your busy time. Visit the locally owned and family operated Tilden Gun today at 12427 98th Avenue in Chippewa Falls.
All aboard! The Eau Claire Express are back. They're taking the field once again this summer, and you can support Eau Claire Express baseball at historic Carson Park all summer long. General admission tickets and grandstand tickets are available, and you can check out the rest of the 2023 Express schedule at eauclairexpress.com or on their Facebook page. Enjoy summer baseball with the Eau Claire Express.
Hi, this is Josh Smith from Union Trailer and Power Equipment. Looking to upgrade your mower this year? Now is the time to upgrade, as we have a large selection of Aaron's and Graylee's zero-turn mowers in stock with some great sale prices along with 0% for 48 months or large cash discount. Get into a new Aaron's zero-turn mower for as little as $92 a month with no money down. Don't forget about our free delivery within 20 miles of Union Trailer and Power Equipment. Hi, this is Josh Smith from Union Trailer and Power Equipment, Mahindra's official tractor of tough. Spring is here, and Mahindra's official tractor of spring savings too. Get great deals on all Mahindra tractors, including 0% interest on select models, or save thousands with cash rebates. Get into a new Mahindra E-Max 20 with loader today with no money down for as little as $185 a month. Mahindra, the official tractor of tough. Hurry into Union Trailer and Power Equipment for heavy-duty savings during the Mahindra Spring Sale. Stop into Union Trailer and Power Equipment today, located right in the Chippewa Valley off Highway 53 at the Melby Street exit.
Quality products, expert service, Union Trailer Sales.
Suffer a sports injury or know someone who has and you don't know who to turn to? Rely on the experience of the sports medicine team at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. When you experience any sports-related injury or issue, you could count on Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on prompt, proper diagnosis and customized treatment plans to meet your goals. When it comes to getting back on the field of play, Get back on there with the best team in the area. Request an appointment with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine today by visiting cvosm.com.
If you were to listen to Dan Kasper nonstop around the clock for a solid month, you'd become the king of all sports fans, desired by beautiful women. Try it and let's see. The Kasper Show.
So the San Antonio Spurs won the draft. Did you watch it, by the way, last night?
Did not.
Okay. I watched the last, it was the last four. Last four up there.
It was always fun to watch, though, like the reactions of the people.
Yeah, that Spurs, the chairman or whoever he was pretty amped up doing the old Tom Brady let's go sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we all know who the first pick's going to be is Victor, right?
Wembanyama.
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 Webby. Adrian Wojnarowski, who's probably the premier NBA insider, right? Fair to say?
I like how Wojnarowski has somehow become, and it's just because of reps, has become easier to say for a lot of folks than Wembanyama. Give it like a year, it's gonna.
Well,
flip.
it's like Giannis now too,
right? Yeah. Now we know Antetokounmpo. Ask people 10 years ago, like what?
Yeah.
Just get used to it. But anyway,
this is what he said it a few times, but this is one clip that he was saying. This was before the draft lottery, and he said it after the Spurs got the first pick too, because he's doubling down on it. But your reaction? Come on. What do you think about that? Because as a lot of people are saying, some dude named LeBron.
Team Sports is saying something even bigger.
Bigger, yeah. So a lot of people giving Woj some grief with that.
I mean, well, for one, we don't know until we see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
He might be right.
It is a take that he's going to have to live with too, right? Yeah. I mean, you put yourself out there when you have those opinions and takes. You're going to have to live with the results after that.
I don't think it's the boldest take. There has been a lot of hype around Victor Wembanyama going back a year. And the prospect of the tanking for this season was like, it was fairly well talked about. And to a degree, I think, at least as far as sports media was concerned, but even sports media folks who probably have ties to teams, to a degree, accepted the notion of tanking for Wembanyama and the tankapalooza that was supposed to happen, which really didn't. I thought there would be more teams that were going to be really, 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 really bad in the NBA. There weren't. Some teams were supposed to be really, 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 really bad, and they ended up trying. Oklahoma City was supposed to be putrid, and well, they're in the play-in. But it's strong, but the combination of his height, his skills, is what he's doing at his age. That's why the hype is.
I mean, Woj, if we want to be a little dramatic here, is pretty much already saying. I take this away from saying, all right, he's going to be one of the best players of all time already.
Yeah, that's the potential. That's why there was so much talk of tanking for this year, because he would be the transformative player. As far as I'm concerned, the Spurs are going to be at a minimum in the play-in next year, but they weren't that far away at times during the season this year anyway. I know they fell apart as the season went along.
And for those who don't like the draft lottery, or like this might be another example, it's like weird Popovich, gets the guy perfect fit, because all you heard was perfect fit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
how did it become a perfect fit? Oh, the cold envelope. Okay.
Oh, perfect fit would have been finding some way to get the Knicks involved. I mean, look at the teams that were at the top of this lottery. Not exactly a murderer's
You don't want
row.
to ruin the kid's career already by going to the Knicks. So
That's true. Actually, yeah, that's the thing. If you want him to be competent, to have a competent career, this actually is an excellent organization to go to. So yeah, it is a perfect fit. But yeah,
part of me was hoping Charlotte was going to get it though.
Oh, see now that the one downside to San Antonio getting it is that they have had that luck before, and it would have been nice to see a different team get in the discussion, i.e. Charlotte, that's never won a title, like Portland. It's had one before.
It seemed like a lot of people were really kind of favoring Portland. Like if there was like one that really like, I hope they get it, was Portland, it seemed like.
Well, and plus then
pair them up with Dame. And
exactly.
There's
Dame Lillard has a high Q rating, so that's a natural there. And then that would immediately shut down all of the Stephen A wants Dame in New York stuff overnight. Dame Lillard's not leaving Portland because he doesn't want to leave Portland. And also, they're going to get a really good player, too, at number 2. Just because you're not getting Victor Wembanyama doesn't mean you're getting scraps.
Hornets have 2.
Yeah, or sorry, it's 3. You're still not getting scraps. Right now, they got Scoot as their projected player. We'll see if that ends up happening. I mean, Brandon Miller's played his way up to...
Yeah, I saw somebody already tweeted that, who was it? Because Jeff Goodman retweeted him. But he's like a Hall of Fame columnist saying that, the Hornets are going to take Brandon Miller. Like they've already decided. That's the one downfall, too, with this whole thing is like you kind of already know. And, yeah, once in a while, I think even Orlando was a little bit of a surprise last year. Paulo, when they drafted number 1 overall.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're like, okay, yeah, we know the first couple picks already.
Right. I mean, Scoot Anderson was thought to be like the 1B. Like he would clearly be number 1 if it wasn't for Wembanyama. Well, actually, now he got outplayed by Miller. Over under on the number of shooting up to number 2 lines, bad puns you're going to hear over the next month or so.
Dick Weiss was the one who tweeted that.
Okay.
National Sports Writer Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What did he tweet that he said? No. Where is it? Okay. Hornets expected to pick Alabama forward Brandon Miller with the 2nd pick.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah. Okay. So yeah, Miller will go. I saw Jonathan Givenoy. Was it Givenoy? One of the main mock drafters at ESPN has Miller to Charlotte, has Henderson to.
One thing, for all the talk about the lottery stuff, one thing I would really like to see changed in the NBA is teams not so willingly giving away, trading their first round picks all the time.
Well, there's that rule. It's the Stepien rule. You know the Stepien rule, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop them from getting as close as you can. Timberwolves. Well, look what they've done. And like they're not having a number 1 pick this year.
Bucks don't have one either.
Right. So, but I mean, that might be the price you have to pay to get a really good player or think you have a really good player. Side note.
Because you look at this really quick.
Yeah.
Looking at the draft order, Orlando at number 11 from Chicago, Utah 16 from Minnesota, Houston 20 from the Clippers, Brooklyn 21 from Phoenix, Portland 23 from New York, Indiana 26 from Cleveland, 27 Charlotte from Denver via New York and Oklahoma City, 28 from Philadelphia via Brooklyn, 29 Indiana from Boston, 30 Clippers from Milwaukee via Houston.
How excited are you for being completely confused on NBA draft night? When you look at the list and you see like the original logo of who was supposed to draft.
Second round is worse.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 10 teams have currently right now are slating their spots, original spots. Everything else came via trade.
Well, remember that was at the the trade deadline. It was all 2nd round picks.
Yeah. Boston
seriously, everyone was trading 2nd round picks.
Boston has the 35th overall pick from Portland via Atlanta, Clippers, Detroit, and Cleveland. I mean,
good. Okay, was that 5 or 6 you just listed?
That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 teams that number 35 overall pick went through.
And this is before the trading that actually happens the day of the draft, remember, the ones that we can't officially announce until it's official by the NBA, so we're going to get the wrong draft caps once again into the whole thing of how happy are you now that you're going to Detroit when everyone already knows that player's going to Indiana. That's confusing. Side note, speaking of first-round draft picks, so if Tim Connolly does bail on the Wolves after 1 year to go to his beloved Washington Wizards, and having in 1 year blown up the team for Rudy Gobert, and then he leaves, is this one of these where Adam Silver could step in and be like, whoa, wait. You can't do that. You had a contract. You made a big impact on that team. That was your decision. And now
so he's
leaving?
going to do the David Stern nixing the Chris Paul Lakers trade sort of thing?
Some variation of that, like where he either, like you can't undo the trade, obviously. And like it could also work too. So you don't want to get that involved, but do they like force like a trade of like the Wizards first round pick, like at least one or maybe a couple or something like that? Because that'd be, I mean, what if that happened to the Bucks? What if some GM came in, traded Giannis for like a bunch of second rounders, and then after a year left? That I would think there'd have to be something for that. You can't just bounce in, do some big move, and then be like, "Yeah, this kind of sucks. I'm leaving." That's not really fair. So I do wonder if the Wolves might end up in some roundabout way end up getting some draft picks back for that. Or hey, maybe they could just do the Rudy Gobert trade with the Wizards if he loves Gobert so much, and trade him a whole bunch of first rounders for Bradley Beal, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, like the point is with all of this though, Wembanyama I think is worth it. The Spurs will be really good going forward, and if any team should wish to have Victor Wembanyama on their team. Now, is he straight up like, would you trade Webby for Giannis? No. Maybe 7 years from now, but that's 7 years from now, Webby versus Giannis. We're talking in the now, and right now you'd rather have Giannis.
That's just a very, very steep hill to climb and plant the flag on. Calling him the best prospect, and including the part of all team sports on there.
Yeah, you are very much chasing something at that point. And then you're in constant chase mode for any team that were to do that. But the Spurs made it work. Okay, they got themselves in position, and now they get the dude. What? By the way, San Antonio, home for your French basketball standouts.
Yeah, you got Tony Parker, on there.
Victor Wembanyama.
Victor is on there too.
I would think they could go play some games in Paris and get a pretty good response, or at least somewhere in France.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, I think Webby's worth it. We'll find out though. We'll know. I mean, the one thing I'm wary of, and I think a lot
body
of
size worries me.
Yeah.
I know he's young and he can get to the NBA and add some of that, but
I just don't want to see a 30 for 30 in 10 years.
Yeah, we don't know.
I want him to dominate. I want to see something. I want to see something like a Giannis, one of those unicorns. Okay, change the game, do something we haven't, like LeBron, like what is happening in front of my eyes. I want to see that. I hope he does really well. And look, I know we're those of us that have grown up with following the Spurs over time. Okay, sure. I'm sure a lot of us are kind of sick of them, but I can't really hate on them. Like they do the right thing. That's for any of us that are tired of basketball hype and doing stupid stuff. The Spurs kind of do it correctly. So good on them. I guess that's some good karma for them.
Okay. Tell you what, we got to take a quick break here and finish up the second hour. I'll tell you the 2 years for our next edition of Showdown coming up in just a couple minutes.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Now that we've gotten some decent weather, we're now more active outside, mowing the lawn, golfing, working on completing some projects. But with all that, that also means you're probably getting a little sore in the back, neck, and shoulders. It sounds like you need a quick adjustment, which means it's time to go visit Dr. Logan at Shepke Chiropractic. With us all being more active this time of year, chances are that we're going to need a few adjustments to our neck and back. That's why at Shepke Chiropractic, their goal is to work with each patient to achieve their goals and perform to their fullest potential in the capacity that their life requires. So don't let your neck or back pain slow you down on your busy summer. Let Shepke Chiropractic help you get adjusted so you're able to get those rounds of golf in or complete those outdoor projects this year. And Shepke Chiropractic has 2 locations to better serve you. All you have to do is visit ShepkeChiropractic.com to learn more and to schedule your appointment. Your journey to a healthier and more fulfilling life starts at Shepke Chiropractic.
She tossed the keys on the kitchen table and sank down on the couch in satisfaction. A sip of wine, and Amanda knew she had a good day. She used her noodle and helped a small business grow. A small business run by a small family with small kids that can go to college one day. That's what Amanda had a hand in. And with a quiet smile on her face, she knows she gets to do that all over again tomorrow. There's something kind of cool about a job where you get to do that. Instead of running around with a briefcase selling people things they don't need, Amanda gets to help small businesses be better businesses, successful businesses. If that itch to help is in you, you might be the next Amanda, the next person we choose to bring on in our sales and marketing department at Midwest Family Broadcasting. Call Dan and tell him about yourself. 852-2658, 852-2658. Midwest Family Broadcasting. We're an equal opportunity employer.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
Keep your spring showers hot with a new water heater from Hurlburt Heating and Plumbing. Extended through May, when you purchase a new furnace and air conditioner from Hurlburt, you'll get a free water heater. Consultations are always free, and interest-free financing is available too. Give us a call or visit us online at hurlburthp.com for more information. That's hurlburthp.com.
Summer projects are coming up. What's on your to-do list first this year? Well, if I had any say in your to-do list, it would be to update that flooring of yours. Maybe a new carpet in the bedroom, replacing your kitchen floor with some luxury vinyl planks, or some nice tile in the bathroom. Hey, I'm just saying, chances are that you have a room in your house that could use a good floor update. So why not make it easier on yourself with this project and visit my friends from Carpet City Flooring Center? I mean, my own grandma has used them twice in the past year to replace some flooring in her own home. So if my grandma likes them and trusts them, you can too. So why does grandma like them so much though? It's the customer service. Top-notch customer service from when you walk into the store to the install team. Add in the best selection and prices and you have a home run. So take a look at that to-do list this year and move up replacing that floor in your home. Then head to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire and chat with the awesome team there to find that perfect floor for your home and your budget. Because like my own grandma says to me all the time, because grandma says so.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go. So I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through June, purchase through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Beacon, always building.
Maybe you miss parts of the Dan Kasper Show because of the clown that lives in the sewer.
You will do.
Don't worry, you can get highlights of the show on the Man Cave podcast, available on your favorite podcasting platforms.
All right, your 2 years that we're going to hit up is 1990 versus 1971.
90 and 71.
90 and 71. So we'll get to that coming up next hour. Before that, just past 8, we'll do some stock reports, whose stocks are rising and whose stocks are falling. C-Bomb, I like the NFL, but what I'd like to see is to prevent taking. The first 5 spots are flipped. 5th worst gets number 1, 4th gets 2, 2 gets 4, worst team gets pick 5. So that would probably, you know what would happen in that scenario one time?
Yeah.
Like the 5th worst team would probably have like 7 wins.
Yeah.
You know, it'd probably happen at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, that's the fluky thing with some of these seasons, that because it's a 17-game season as opposed to an 82-game season, your schedule and one player's injury can make even though I know one player doesn't make as big of a difference to football as opposed to basketball.
Colts.
See, can make a big difference. Well, all of a sudden now, is that team deserving of? Not really. It kind of went bad for them that given year. That's where I still come down to generally thinking the NFL shouldn't do a lottery, but I'm not entirely opposed to it, and I think it can make sense.
It'll definitely be a good litmus test this year, I think.
Yes.
If anything does happen.
This is the experiment.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
And I was trying to think of other teams besides Washington off the top of my head.
I mean, Arizona's going to probably be
that
pretty
would
bad.
Be something. Well, then you get in the Kyler Murray situation.
Right. Houston's going to be probably pretty.
They got their quarterback.
That's the thing, though. They're not in position to do that. Some teams just going to be bad that we're not necessarily expecting to be. Okay, so I'll go here.
With the Jets.
No. But you're not that
far off. Green Bay gets the first pick.
You're not that far off, though.
Giants?
Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if the Patriots got the number 1 pick and everything?
That would be so ironic that Bill is chasing the most wins in a season from Don Shula. But Bill Belichick, we're going to tank for Caleb Williams.
Bill Belichick and the 3-14 New England Patriots.
Yeah. And then everybody who hates the Patriots have more fuel for the fire to hate the Patriots. And then he doesn't draft Caleb Williams.
That's the thing. Yeah. He ends up drafting a defensive lineman or something.
Bill's not the greatest drafter. I think we can look at that history.
Hey, he drafted a quarterback. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. I mean, it would okay, but that would also get attention.
Yeah.
I mean, if the whole point is buzz, well, there'd be buzz with that.
Bill would probably coach another 10 years then at that point.
He might. I mean, if that gets him back to another title, to Brady versus Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Still remember the Ryan Russillo weekly mocking the who's better after he left. Well, there'd be more chapters to that. That's for sure.
I mean, I don't think you can completely throw out Seattle unless you really believe in Geno Smith.
I think Seattle's going to be pretty decent. The Rams might have a better shot at it.
That too. That's another one.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Caleb Williams staying in Cali, LA. Yeah. I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think Sean McVay, like I said, I think this year he's going to try harder. I don't think they get that bad.
Try hard, Sean. Try hard.
Try harder.
All right, 2 in. We got 1 more to go. We'll be back after these news updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Good morning. Here's what we're learning today. Begin with an update from the Eau Claire Police Department, and we now know a person in custody for last Friday's deadly wreck in Eau Claire is Kenneth Van Meter, who police say was drunk and speeding when he crashed into a car last Friday night. Eau Claire police say they are recommending homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle charges in the case. The DA's office not saying when those formal charges could be filed. Well, looking at the courts, there'll be a pay hike on the checks of some public defenders and assistant DAs. It appears that those public defenders and assistant district attorneys in Wisconsin will be getting a pay increase. Fond du Lac County DA Eric Toney joined Republican lawmakers at the Capitol on Tuesday, saying,
"There's no doubt in my mind this is going to be a transformational budget for prosecutors to help us retain and recruit amazing prosecutors to help keep our communities safe, working hand in hand with law enforcement.
Looking at the numbers, starting pay for public defenders and assistant DAs would increase to $36 an hour, about $75,000 a year. And that is more than what was sought by Democratic Governor Tony Evers in his new 2-year state budget. While we're in the courts, a state law aimed at protecting victims of violent crimes will stay on the books in Wisconsin. Getting this update yesterday, the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled the wording of the law is constitutional and was properly written on ballots. The law passed in 2020 and expands the rights of victims of crimes. That year, a judge in Dane County ruled the law was improperly enacted, but yesterday's decision by the Supreme Court overturns that ruling. Well, you might want to look up before you put the pedal down. If you're speeding, Patrol is continuing with its aerial enforcement this week, and troopers were out in Rock County yesterday. They'll be in Kenosha County today and then Eau Claire tomorrow, just a heads up there. State Patrol says it's telling people about the flights in hopes that it might get you to slow down a little bit on Wisconsin interstates. Well, the home of the green and gold gets a gold medal. U.S. News and World Reports has a list of the best places to live, and Green Bay tops it in terms of the best place to live in the world. And so definitely they're getting some high rankings there. And get this, while you have that Cafe Caruba and Glazers in your hand, you're helping Quick Trip get top of the list for a new USA Today ranking, naming Quick Trip the best gas station in America. And while you're making a stop at Quick Trip and heading up to the campsite, what about those skeeters? Don't forget the spray.
There are 3,500 species of mosquitoes around the world. There's no mistake if one's flying near you. It's a distinctive buzz, but it's only the girl mosquitoes who do the biting. And if they're after you, there's hope. A new study by researchers at Virginia Polytechnic Institute say if mosquitoes are biting you, it's because you're too clean. The research says mosquitoes are attracted to the smell of some soaps as well as the smell of no fragrance at all. Scientists say if you're trying to repel mosquitoes by smell, try coconut oil. Mosquitoes don't like that smell at all. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
And when you swing by Wahlburger and get one of those man cave lights, tell me what you think, because I like them, but I got to tell you, after you've had a few of them, it's
a distinctive buzz.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
More sunshine will be on tap for today, but it'll be a little bit cooler as highs only climb to the upper 60s and low 70s. Later on tonight, a few clouds will start to trickle in ahead of a chance at some showers and storms going into later tomorrow afternoon as highs return to the mid 70s. This will set us up for a cooler end to the work week with highs only reaching the upper 50s and low 60s by Friday. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
And trust. Like the service you'll love every time you buy appliances for your home at Amundsen.
More brands, more savings. Get more options in May at Amundsen's Appliance. Dishwashers starting at $4.99. Stainless steel French door refrigerators from $14.99. These appliances are in stock and ready for delivery. Make it easy. Come to Amundsen's Appliance in Rice Lake, Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, and Hayward. Or shop us online at Amundsen'sAppliance.com.
Amundsen.
Want to stop engine problems before they start? Pick up a can of Seafoam Motor Treatment. Seafoam helps engines start easier, run smoother, and last longer. Just pour it in your fuel tank. Seafoam is available where automotive products are sold.
Let me ask you something. Did you name your firstborn after a football player?
Hell yeah.
Did you spend your honeymoon going to a football game?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Do you spend most of your free time hanging out in your man cave?
Yes!
If you answered yes to all the above, then you, my friend, are a serious sports fan just like Dan.
Yes!
This is exactly where you belong. Sports talking and BSing is what we do best.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
So rise and grind, people, because the Dan Kasper Show is on the air.
You serious, Clark?
Right now.
Showtime! Woo!
Third and final hour kicking off on this Wednesday morning. We're going to get to a little showdown coming up in just a little bit. But we've got some stock reports that are going to be due here. So let's just jump into it for stock reports. All right, Lucas? So,
all right.
Stock riser for you. I got two, but I want to see if one of them may be yours. So I'm going to let you go first.
I mean, the easy one would be the Spurs. So I'm going to go with actually Danny Ainge.
Okay.
I mean, the topic came up with the whole process versus process, capital P versus lowercase p, with the Sixers. But look at the track record. That team is always competitive, always good. It goes back to when he came to the front office of the Celtics back in the 2000s. That's another organization where you probably, if you want to win, you probably want to play for Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening again. And I know the Heat are they've got the coaching advantage very clearly in this Eastern Conference Finals, but overall, Celtics are the more talented team. They're in a very good position to win another championship. I mean, Danny Ainge knows how to build teams, and the results of what happened here, which, okay, also, as a side note, NBA's got to do reseeding, get out of the bracket. Sixers, I don't know that we would have had it for sure, but if we weren't going to have the Bucks involved, Sixers Celtics should have been the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Not the semifinals because of brackets. Brackets are stupid. Like, get over that, reseed. But still, we got a really good matchup, and well, Celtics came out on top because they had you got the better players, and those players came through acquisition, and that came from Danny Ainge.
Mm-hmm. All right, I got two. First, I'm going to give a shout out. Northwoods League adding softball.
Yes,
that's a really cool story that was announced yesterday.
Awesome.
So 2024 Northwoods League is now going to be getting a softball league here. I know locations and all that later to be announced after finalized and all that stuff. But we posted a link up on Facebook and Twitter. Hey, if you are interested in maybe being a franchise owner, there's details on there too.
Curious also what the name's going to be. If there is one in Eau Claire, I have to imagine it's going to be a playoff. Is this going to be like the WNBA where it's kind of a playoff of the other ones? So it's like a train theme or transportation or something like that.
Maybe.
I'd be curious.
Yeah. The other one, Green Bay. You heard Morgan, City of the World, but also perfect timing to be named that because next week at the owners' meetings, they should be announcing who's going to have the 2025 draft. Why not put it in the best city in America?
Who was saying recently would have some influence that, like, maybe it was someone with the Packers or a media guy from Green Bay saying that it's actually, like, despite the way it's all laid out, that Green Bay really should get it. And I was like, wow, so really there's a good reason to not put the draft there? Like a good logistical reason that the draft has become so big now that even the draft would be too inconvenient to put in Green Bay was my takeaway from that. I think obviously that the draft should be there, but that it's too spread out and there's too many people coming. And now we're back to the whole Super Bowl reasoning. Besides, of course, it being, February, you wouldn't have the Super Bowl at Lambeau in February, but it's just not a convenient place, and people would complain, and high rollers would complain, and blah 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 blah, and yeah.
I've got a theory next week, so that with the spring league meeting set to start next Monday, we're also going to find out who's Hard Knocks. It's going to be an interesting week. Green Bay gets the 2025 draft, the New York Jets get the Hard Knocks. Boom, done.
That would make the most amount of sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Why, if they don't give it to the Jets, or if they don't let me rephrase it. If they don't force the Jets, because they're going to force them. They don't force the Jets to do this. They have missed out on a heck of an opportunity to increase ratings. Not that they really need, but those ratings boosts would be up there.
Yeah, except somehow I see. This reminds me of when the Raiders one was going to happen, and that was going to be like the ultimate. And then the Raiders had just enough people that didn't really want to play along with it, and it ended up being way underwhelming. And why do I have a
that's good. You had the Antonio Brown helmet saga on that one on there. So
you did, but why do I have a feeling that somehow, because Aaron Rodgers is savvy enough, he's going to do one of two things. He's going to go all in on it, and it would be like the best ever, biggest ratings ever, or because he's so clever about this, he would go so vanilla.
He's all New York on it, though, now. He's living the New York limelight. He's going to Madison. He's been to more Knicks games than he's been to Bucks games, and he's part owner, for crying out loud. He's going to live this thing up. He is going to live it up. I don't want to see the Bears. That's boring. Saints are boring to me. I know they got a new quarterback, but come on.
Was there a list of the prospective ones?
There's 4 that are eligible. Jets, Bears, Saints. The only other one I could see if they want to maybe change the narrative here a little bit, given recent events, the Commanders.
I think it's too soon.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do it once the sale goes through. Probably wait until they get their guy. Again, Caleb is with Washington next year. By that time, you're fully removed of all things Snyder. Now the team is at the new owners come in and they are like renovating the locker room and all that sort of stuff. Right now, this wouldn't be the time to do it. You're right. The Saints are kind of. I mean,
the only other thing would be the saving grace there is it'd be year 2 in a row of Jamal Williams, since he was with the Lions one last year.
Yeah,
it's got to be the Jets. It's got to be the Jets.
I think there are probably better options. Like if any team were eligible. But given those 4, I mean, it's clearly the Jets.
Mm-hmm. Do it. Come on, NFL.
I still think it's going to underwhelm. They'll probably end up doing it, but
it might underwhelm. I don't care. But you know what? That first episode, every episode is going to skyrocket.
Of course it will.
Yeah, I'm not expecting any drama or any like breaking thing. But anytime there's Aaron Rodgers involved with that, there's going to be some sort of thing attached to it. So
Yep. Now we're going through the Devontae Adams news cycle right now. So, yep.
I mean, he does bring what Devontae Adams said. If nobody seen what he said, he essentially, talking about this year with the Raiders, this past season, because he was an All-Pro and he still put up Devontae Adams numbers. I don't disagree with him because, like he said, he's like, now we can say he didn't need Aaron Rodgers to do it. And that was a knock, right? I mean, that was kind of like, okay, is it Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams? Devontae Adams did it without Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So, I mean, I think he's right. Now, I know he also kind of, was talking about some of his Raiders or how the Raiders are kind of building his team and all that sort of stuff too. But, I mean, we're talking about the Devontae Adams, quarterback thing, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's absolutely right in it. Where he said he can you can just write in he didn't need Aaron Rodgers. He's not wrong.
Right. And you want to be known as the guy that needed a quarterback to succeed?
So my question would be, does that actually improve, and this is down the road and not to get that far, but does that actually improve his Hall of Fame chances?
I would think if he can keep up his pace, I think he needs to win a little bit more. I think he was very much on a Hall of Fame track, and I think that kind of got interrupted a little bit based on the whole Raider thing, but he can get back on that track, and it definitely would help now again, there's a little bit of that chicken and egg thing. If you kind of need the good quarterback there to win a lot in order to probably get more in the Hall of Fame discussion. Doesn't always have to happen, Calvin Johnson, but it does help to have a bigger spotlight because you're playing more than 17 games a season. But then if you have a bigger quarterback, then you're succeeding because you have a bigger quarterback. Mm-hmm. So which one do you have? Like if they can thread the needle and have a good quarterback and he's incredible as a receiver, then he gets the credit.
I do love when we have these established players, like great players, how they get more vocal in their criticism of certain aspects, like Aaron did a couple years ago with Green Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Devontae, when he was it The Ringer? I think he was talking to, where he was talking about his GM and coach, and literally said we don't see eye to eye on what we think is best for us right now. It's like, younger guy ain't saying that. Stud wide receiver can get away with saying stuff like that,
right? Because they proved it on the field. Okay, now make it work.
I love where the one line he did say though was like, "This breeds so much confidence. If you're a Raiders fan, you got to be pumped up when you hear this." When Adam said, "I'm going to have to buy into this and try to be as optimistic as possible." Wow, it's like, hey, all right,
just win, baby.
I'm waiting for the people saying he's trying to navigate his way to the Jets if they haven't already said that. So.
Gosh, I'm sure there's something somewhere in the Twitter cesspool that's some people have been saying that.
Mhm.
It would be funny if he demanded a trade to the Jets, but then that would defeat the purpose of this whole thing. So no, obviously not.
He'd almost have to go all Antonio Brown to force his way out of there.
What if he tried to get a trade to the Patriots?
Why? Why would he want to do that?
Well, so I guess I'm then you get the Belichick versus insert player here thing, but I'm trying to think of some random location where like teams. I mean, players have gone to New England for career resuscitations before, and not that Adams needs a career resuscitation.
He's also plays wide receiver where wide receivers kind of go to die.
That is kind of true. Yeah, so maybe that wouldn't be a good place.
I don't know, but I just kind of chuckle when these established players like they gain the confidence, and it's because of just the
right
job security.
Yeah,
they ain't getting let go. It's not, and it's like an undrafted rookie free agent isn't going to say stuff like that because then you know what, you're going to get the boot.
Of course, because it's easy.
Well, look at like the Lions. With those players that were betting games and suspended, who got cut and who didn't.
Exactly, the star player stuck around,
and
the others are gone.
Yep.
How convenient.
Right. So, but yeah, that's going to be next week. We're going to find out if Green Bay has the draft or not.
What's the day of that? Oh, wait, the 22nd?
22nd through the 24th is the meetings.
Hey, you can go over and hang out with those guys. It's in the Twin Cities.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Why didn't I get press credentials? What did I do?
Probably still could.
Wonder if I could.
Yeah, you just
I probably
grab it up
deleted
there.
the email. I usually get all those emails, but I usually I can't go, so I just delete everything.
Well, in this case, you can. Yeah.
Well, son of a gun.
Yeah, go find. You've got some media person. You could probably have them forwarded to you. And
son of a gun.
You could drive over.
I'll just log into my account.
See, you could do the Dan Kasper Show live from the owners' meetings.
Yeah. Oh, wonder is Pat's new show going to be there?
Already?
He's taking a lot of heat. You've seen that, right?
I haven't seen the heat just yet. I've seen a lot of talk about it.
I'll say the I think it's one word that's being thrown out there. Sellout.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, he already kind of was on the networks anyway. It's
a game day, yeah.
Yeah, like when I saw that, I'm like, oh, well, I mean, he's kind of already in with ESPN. So, I mean, I get it to a degree, but I mean, provided the show doesn't get neutered, which, I mean, to a certain extent, it literally has to be. But
my question, and it'll remain to be seen, but like, first of all, he's going to have to take commercial breaks. He can't go over. He's going to have the A blocks, B blocks, C blocks, D blocks. He's got to follow that script.
Yeah.
He did an awful job when it was on radio and Sirius. Like, I don't know how many times I was listening and then it just cut off because they had to take a commercial break. Like, he would just go, or the top of the hour when there was a new show.
Yeah.
He's in middle sentence. He's going, new show kicks on.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to follow that. And he's going to have people to help, obviously, do that.
Yeah.
But the other part is like, okay, because he has Ian Rappaport on all the time. He's got Shams on from The Athletic all the time. Does that all of a sudden mean they're out?
It's all Woj.
Woj and Schefter.
And Brian Windhorst.
That's the one downfall on this thing. Like, I feel like he could have almost did like a DP, like a Dan Patrick, and just, going on with your own name brand sort of thing.
He could have. If he feels more comfortable, more power to him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever makes him happy, that's ultimately what matters. We'll miss some of that stuff, but hey, I guess there's a lane for someone else who's obviously not a clone, but someone else could come along and get that. I mean, there are other reasons to watch the show. Granted, also, okay, Pat McAfee did not become popular because Aaron Rodgers went on and started making controversial comments. He was plenty popular already.
Started off with Barstool, kind of
right.
I will say Aaron took it at another level.
He did, but
yeah, he didn't create Pat McAfee.
Right. I think Pat McAfee would have been totally fine if Aaron Rodgers stopped doing the show now. The Pat McAfee show independent would have been just fine going forward.
It's almost like the Aaron Rodgers show with Pat McAfee on Tuesdays.
I think I'm just about with, again, the square. Does AJ Hawk go along with this, by the way?
I think so. Well, it's funny because I don't know if you watched his video, like his announcement video, but it started off with like AJ. Essentially, it seemed like he was being let go, like he was going off in the wind, and then like the toxic table, Boston and Ty were now switching to like they were wearing suits and being a little bit more polite, and then Pat like jumped in and said none of that is happening. So I think they keep saying it's going to be the same format, but everybody's skeptical at this point.
So what?
Because it's the mothership.
So AJ Hawk's still gonna.
It sounds like it.
Still gonna be on a Zoom call, but he's just gonna have a fancier set behind him. It's still gonna look like a Zoom call.
I really hope the audio is better for AJ though too.
That's one of those random quirks about this whole thing.
Yeah.
The thing I'm most regretting, or not regretting, but wary of. And it's okay. Look, I've talked about it a bunch. I follow ESPN.com. Hopefully, they still have writers left after the next round. Side note: that next round of layoffs is going to be so much fun in the discourse.
Well, and that's the thing too. Yeah, with this, because they paid a boatload of cash to him.
And then, we don't have the money to afford talent, and all these names are going to come out. Remember, the on-air ones have yet to come. It's all the behind-the-scenes stuff. But we're going to get some names, and they don't have the money for it.
Right.
So how's that going to go over in the next month? Because that's when it happens. It's coming by the end of June, we're going to know all of the layoffs because the next 2 rounds are still to come. We're only a third of the way through these layoffs.
Well, it's like the NFL when they announced their layoffs because of the economic times. And then the same day they announced, hey, for $110 million, we gave a game to Peacock.
Yep. Kind of hypocritical. But I'm also wary of how many Pat McAfee clips are going to be everywhere. Just like we did with Stephen A.
Exactly. That was somebody was saying too, is like he's gonna have to, for Pat, he's gonna have to be on other shows. He's gonna have to do this other stuff. And he does do a lot already, but
so many takes. Pat McAfee thinks that the Knicks need to trade their entire team for Giannis.
Right. Well, it's like you look at Stephen A. and Mike Greenberg. Greenberg's doing a morning show, a radio show, and then he's the host for the NBA thing.
Yeah, he does everything.
I don't want to do that.
So brace yourself for the Pat McAfee oversaturation. It's coming. It's coming.
A lot. Yeah, you do a Twitter search, and there's a good chunk of people not happy.
Yeah, I understand. So that's what's going to come this next year, and we'll see if it's worth it. Well, we'll find out. But then again, at some point, ESPN is going to go through another management change, and then they'll change their philosophy again. They'll go away from the big 3 stars, and I don't know. It's cyclical.
Over or under how many times they get fined by for the F-bombs?
I'm going to take the under, actually. I know it's tough, but I think
they got to put that show on a tape delay or like a 5-second delay, right?
Well, yeah, they can because
it's got to be like the award shows where
it's cable. He will.
Got to do it.
I think actually though he cleans up enough, he won't even do it.
He did mention in his video like they, he kind of joked about it, like we can't say the F word, well, too much. So it's just going to come naturally.
Well, and also it is cable versus bright. It's not like this is going to be on ABC at 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
Well, it's on 3 platforms of ESPN all at the same time.
Gosh.
It's going to be on their ESPN right after Get Up, ESPN Plus, and then their digital YouTube thing. So.
By the way, I know we're way off topic here. We haven't even gotten to the stock followers. Are you going to are you a Peacock subscriber?
I think we are.
Okay, so you're fine.
But we got the deal where it's $1 a month.
Okay, so
that's going to end soon, I think.
If you don't have Peacock come January, will you subscribe to Peacock to watch one NFL playoff game?
Depends who's playing.
If it's not the Packers,
and it's a wild card game.
So let's say
if it's like that Monday night thing, no.
Yeah. Like the Jaguars and the Dolphins.
If it's a Saturday night, probably.
But that means you're okay. $5, I suppose it's not that big of a deal. Now, what if Peacock changes their plan and they say, hey, you can't do a monthly. Anyone who signs up now has a 6-month minimum.
Screw you, Peacock.
Yeah. I thought of this the other day, like, okay, we're all presuming that the worst game is going to be put on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, if you're the NFL, why not go the opposite way? What if this year, what if, and this is a realistic possibility, What if Chiefs Jets is
I
one
was
of
just
those,
gonna
one of
say
those
that.
6 games?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, if you really want to show the power of the NFL, put that one on Peacock. And then if you're NBC Universal, take this one step further. And instead of having like a monthly on-off, just make a policy change sometime later this year and make it like a 6-month minimum or something like that. And let's see how powerful the NFL really is.
They could get away with doing that.
That's the thing. They just might. And gosh, that would suck too. So we didn't even know this. Because I was telling Marie this. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't. Like, I don't watch all 6 games anyway in a given week. I'm like, okay, I'll get the highlights later on. Like, well, we can't watch that. She's like, we do subscribe to Peacock. We do? She said she subscribed for some show a while back and forgot to cancel. I'm like, so we've been paying for Peacock, and all this time I thought we didn't. So there's a lot. There are probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, who are in that same boat.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to subscribe for that. But I'm sure a lot of people
You
would.
okay? So if it is Jets Chiefs, you wouldn't?
No,
Okay.
not for one wild card play.
I think I would for Jets Chiefs, or a marquee matchup like
here's
that.
the thing. Like, I don't want to go pay extra for a game that could end up being, let's say, a fluke happens and then it's 28-0. And
Could be, but you know what? It could also be an all-time classic.
It could be
that you would tell your daughter, "I watched that game."
Yeah, I guess. But there are enough. But then again, I'm to the point now where there are enough classic games that I miss anyway, because you don't know which game's going to be the classic and which isn't.
That's why you got to watch.
Yeah, I know, and I don't have enough time because half that time I'm spent changing my toddler's diaper.
Well, that's the nice thing with streaming, though. Too, you could pause, you could go back, you could start at a
can.
different time, and all that stuff. So
You know what? I'll watch it the next day.
Well,
on
you still got
YouTube.
YouTube there.
Yeah.
What, would they have the whole thing on YouTube though?
Eventually, they probably. Well, no, NFL Network will have it, and I got that.
Okay.
But presuming we even still have cable by that time, we may have canceled cable, and this may be a moot point. But again, it reminds me of, okay, I go through this a lot with the Vikings, where their game is not on TV. And granted, I don't even watch all of those because, again, life happens. You're doing other stuff throughout the day. You can't watch literally every
Not
single...
during football season, you don't.
I know. But
I plan my vacations around that.
I know you, but you're the one that would, if you got paid to watch every single game, you would. We had this discussion. You would do that.
And probably not that much. So
I know. But
give me about $10 a game.
Right. But if I have to, like if it goes, and I've done this before, like I think it was the Vikings Bills game when it got cut off because it was on the same network as the Packers game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I listened to the radio. But I'm okay with that. And plus, a whole lot of us probably wouldn't mind listening to our local radio broadcast. Now, of course, we have the advantage of being around radio stations. If I lived in Albuquerque, okay, then I'm probably shelling out for that. But that's also because that's the only way you can realistically find it. We have options. If I need to go to a bar, I can do that. If I need to go here to the station, there are the other ways you can find it fairly easily around here. If I really need to, yeah, I don't know. It'll work. It's annoying, but it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there have been playoff games on ESPN before. You have to pay for that. It's part of cable. It's just a different way to pay. It's not new.
Well, I mean, unless you get like Hulu, or then you get ESPN.
Right, but I mean, like in the past when ESPN had the playoff game, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay, so that we've done this before. This is not new territory here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got actually a few messages on Facebook. Quite a few people said they're done watching Pat now. So, all right, well.
Again, see, we're two things where a whole lot of people are outraged, and let's see what happens. People are like, we're never going to watch the NFL again if they're going to make us pay. Okay. We're never going to watch Pat McAfee again. Maybe. Okay, let's see what the next year goes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens. Maybe you're right. Well, let's find out.
That is the one thing, though, that does worry me. I think the biggest thing, I don't care about like whether he's cleaning up his F-bombs or anything. That doesn't matter to me. The thing, because ESPN has been noted for this, is the restriction on guests.
Yeah.
They've been notorious on that. Like, they don't allow sometimes their people to go on other shows,
Mm-hmm.
or they won't allow certain people on theirs.
Mm-hmm.
That
So,
to me is,
was that part of the deal?
I don't know. Pat is saying that everything doesn't change, but realistically, though, would ESPN be happy if Ian Rappaport's on almost every other day like he is currently?
I mean, I think there's a case to be made that, and like, I know there's the competition between the insiders.
Which is weird, though, too, because when it comes to draft time, they've relaxed that because Daniel Jeremiah's on there. Mel Kiper's on NFL Network now.
See, I think ESPN gets more out of it. Like if you if you can have that clip living on ESPN.com where like Rap tells Pat that Commanders shouldn't tank or something like, I'm just making up a headline.
That is an awful
headline. Yeah, I know.
Clickbait right there.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Okay, I'm probably more interested in that than another take from Adam Schefter.
Unless Schefter gets upset that Ian's on there and throws a hissy fit.
He might actually.
All right, bench press off between the two.
Okay, we can have AJ Hawk be the play-by-play guy.
Yep. So, I don't know. It remains to be seen. I don't think anybody really knows at this point.
I don't know either, but it will be fascinating.
Yeah.
By the way, who's your stock faller? Just realized look at the clock. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Did you do a stock faller?
I haven't yet. No.
Holy moly.
Oh wait, I was first, right?
Yeah, you were first. I'm way off track. Okay.
The Milwaukee Brewers. And don't look at just how they've been playing the past few games. This is a take from Buster Olney. He's been reporting. He's hearing from GMs, others who know that they think the Brewers are going to do the exact same thing this year that they did last year. Some combination of Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, and Willie Adames.
All traded?
Some combination. 1, 2, maybe all 3 will be traded. And it doesn't matter where the Brewers are at in the standings. They're going to do it again. But they're doing that, and this could actually be the case for making them a stock riser, actually. They're doing it so they can stay competitive, so that they don't lose them in free agency and have to go through several years of trying to get the prospects up. They're selling early, and that may put a cap on this season, just like last year. And yeah, maybe they, again, come up 1 game short. But the idea is they're still at least in contention versus having a year or two not even remotely close and falling into Washington Nationals territory or something like that. But in terms of this Brewers season, I'd be really cautious until we get to August. If you're excited about the Brewers, I just hate to say that, but the expectation is that's what they're going to do. They're at least one of those guys is going to go. And if that means losing games the rest of the season for the Brewers, that's okay.
Oof.
Yeah.
I did not see that. So that just really drained the energy out of this studio.
Yeah. Sorry. And I know. I heard that. I'm like, really? But I mean, again, it probably is the smart move.
It makes sense. You just kind of wish Corbin and Willie were maybe playing a little bit better, so their stocks were up a little bit higher.
Well, that's the other thing. Maybe you don't if they're not playing that well. Now the other part of this, and where this is where you really start to worry, as we talked about a lot over the offseason, the cash flow. Are they in financial trouble? And if that's the case, then they're just the Tampa Bay Rays without the mass smarts. I mean, they are. I can't remember who exactly said this on ESPN, but I thought this too. They're basically the Tampa Bay Rays of the National League, and that's a massive compliment. But I don't think they're quite as smart as the Rays. And oddly, I wonder if they're in slightly worse financial shape, which is really weird to say that about Tampa Bay being in better shape, but maybe that's the case. We keep hearing these indications. Also, this puzzled me. Buster Olney was also implying that not only might David Stearns be gone, but Craig Counsell might be gone. That this might be a Rays situation like when Andrew Friedman and Joe Madden left, and that when Craig Counsell's contract is up, that
David Stearns. You mean Matt Arnold or?
Oh, no, that's Stearns. And the presumption is that he's going to be gone anyway.
Right,
he's in purgatory right now. He's going to be gone. But then he also said Craig Counsell could be going.
Like fired or just leaving?
Yeah, let him go.
Yeah, he's not under contract.
Basically, free agent manager. Now, my response to that, of course, as one dude just reading the story, would be, he's like Milwaukee guy. I don't think he wants to leave, but and maybe he overlooked that. That's a possibility. But That was the first time I thought, really, Craig Counsell might leave? Because if Counsell leaves, yes, sure, you can find maybe another guy, but yeah, that's why they're my stock follower this week.
I'll do mine quickly. Stock follower of the PGA Championship, because nobody cares about the PGA Championship this week. It's just the red-headed, stepchild or whatever.
Yeah,
How many people realize it's actually happening tomorrow?
Until SV Pod showed up yesterday, and of course, that's paying attention because Van Pelt's a golf guy. I
Right.
forgot about it.
Right. Exactly.
And the whole Rory being quiet on Live because it's now PGA comment time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the story. But actually,
How much does it factor too? Because Tiger's not playing.
Right. I didn't put 2 and 2 together on and the daily thing. But yeah, we're not hearing about who's great for this. Though, on that podcast, I did hear a nugget. Because they had one of their ESPN stats and info guys on. John Rahm is on pace to break the record for the most, I think it's by eagles per round, which would break the record set by Tiger Woods in 2000. Xander Schauffele is on pace for the fewest bogeys per round, which would break the record set by Tiger Woods in 2000.
So what you're saying is that Tiger Woods' 2000 year was just astronomical.
You're almost quoting Van Pelt from that. Exactly. Whoa. So we're seeing historic stuff, but it's still early. Obviously, it's May. But we could be seeing historic stuff, and it just reiterates just how good. If we were doing Showdown again, knowing that, and we already know 2000 was great. Knowing that now, that seems even better. My gosh, do we need a 30 for 30 on Tiger Woods in 2000? To how good he was?
Did we even the 2000 advance? 2000 did advance.
Okay.
But it lost in the second round.
Oh,
to 86.
Yeah. Okay. That's a powerhouse here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fair enough. By the way, who you got for the PGA? I'm taking Xander. I know John Rahm's playing incredible. I'm taking Xander Schauffele. He's due. Straight up due.
This is the thing is PGA came up here.
Apparently it's going to be pretty cold early on too, like 30s during some of the early rounds.
You know what? I think I'll go a little, not really, he's a top 10 golfer. I'll go Tony Finau. I'll go a little outside the box here a little bit.
The people's pick.
Mm-hmm. The people's person.
Yeah.
People, what? People. Yeah. Okay. So, I want to go with Tony Finau. Why not?
Yeah. Also, don't take Patrick Canada. That stats and info guy said Canada is hands down the obvious choice. Remember we did the whole thing, and I took it from the Simmons pod of good golfer, most likely to never win a championship. That stats and info guy, and if this is getting more analytical, says Canada's top 5 golfer. He's never going to win a title. It's just not. He's not designed for this. Don't pick Patrick Canada.
Okay. Don't do it.
Don't pick Patrick Canada.
Okay.
So of course he's going to win this weekend.
Probably. Yeah.
Just our luck.
All right. Quick break and then really quick showdown to decide who moves on 90 or 71 after these few words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
She tossed the keys on the kitchen table and sank down on the couch in satisfaction. A sip of wine, and Amanda knew she had a good day. She used her noodle and helped a small business grow. A small business run by a small family with small kids that can go to college one day. That's what Amanda had a hand in. And with a quiet smile on her face, she knows she gets to do that all over again tomorrow. There's something kind of cool about a job where you get to do that. Instead of running around with a briefcase selling people things they don't need, Amanda gets to help small businesses be better businesses, successful businesses. If that itch to help is in you, you might be the next Amanda, the next person we choose to bring on in our sales and marketing department at Midwest Family Broadcasting. Call Dan and tell him about yourself. 852-2658, 852-2658. Midwest Family Broadcasting. We're an equal opportunity employer.
Economy Furniture in Chippewa Falls is something that you gotta see. The biggest selection for miles around, 2 jam-packed floors of quality. At Economy, you don't have to wait. wait for a sale, it can be yours immediately. Everyday low prices on the best brand names, and we finance it interest-free. Furnishing the Chippewa Valley since 1950. Economy Furniture's for me.
Grilling season is here. Brats, burgers, steaks, ribs, whatever is on your menu for this summer, there's one place in the Chippewa Valley you need to visit, Mike's Star Market. Especially when it comes to brats, Mike's Star Market has the area's best and widest selection of brats in the area. So when you visit Mike's to pick out your selection of brats, may we suggest checking out the Man Cave Light and Dill Pickle Cheddar Brats? They're amazing. The best time of year is here. Visit Mike's Star Market so you're the backyard barbecue king this summer.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
The brands you trust, prices you'll like, the service you'll love every time you buy. Appliances for your home at Amundsen's.
Get more options in May at Amundsen's Appliance with Amana Top Load Laundry. Easy to buy, just $9.99 for the pair. In stock and ready for delivery. Amundsen's in Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, Rice Lake, and Hayward. Or shop us online at Amundsen'sAppliance.com.
Then the best place to buy is Amundsen's.
There aren't many people as sports smart as he is, so he tries to use tiny words so people like me can easily follow along.
That doesn't make sense.
The Dan Kasper Show.
All right, ready? Jump into this thing?
Let's do it.
Okay, so 71 sports. Just really quickly, you had the Colts over the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 5.
Arguably the worst Super Bowl ever played.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever watched it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's the video's out there. It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad.
We had the Cornhuskers defeating LSU, Louisiana State Tigers, for the College National Championship. What else do we got here for baseball? Pirates beat the Baltimore Orioles in 4-3. Basketball, UCLA won the national championship over Villanova. Indiana hired Bob Knight that year. Wisconsin felt lost on that one. NBA, though, Bucks 4-0 over the Baltimore Bullets to win the NBA championship. Joe Frazier defeats Muhammad Ali at Madison Square Garden in the first of 3 epic bouts. We've got Jack Nicklaus won the PGA championship, since we were just talking about that. And then hockey-wise, you had Montreal defeating the Blackhawks 4-3. Okay. So that's
pretty good year for Wisconsin in terms of the Bucks.
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely.
Okay.
90 Super Bowl. This was you want to talk about another bad Super Bowl? 49ers defeated the Broncos 55-10.
Yep, I still can picture Jerry Rice running down the turf at the Superdome like, "Oh, this game's over," and it's just started.
Mm-hmm. Miami defeated Alabama to win a national championship. For baseball, you had the Reds sweeping the A's in the World Series. Pistons defeated the Portland Trailblazers in the NBA Finals. Hockey-wise, you had, where did it just go here? We had the Edmonton defeating Boston 4-1. I'm kind of going 71 for sports.
I would too. And again, if you're looking Wisconsin-wise, Brewers, I remember Bucks for Packers.
Yeah.
This was like this was when the Alvarez era began. Gosh, I still remember when that hearing that, and then they weren't that good to start. I'm like, here they go again. Oh, saw what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I would go 1971.
Yeah, me too. All right, music.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, it's 71.
Okay, so 71 moves on.
I mean, again, albums, Tapestry, What's Going On, Sticky Fingers, Who's Next, Blue. And again, if you don't know the artist, look them up. Way better than what we have in 1990. Okay, yes, 1990 had Ice Ice Baby, and You Can't Touch This. Okay, fine. Cool. We're going with 1971. It was just better. Just look at what was on Dial MTV in 1990. Look at if there was a chart out there for that, pick your hair band and they were on there. Yeah, it's 1971.
All right,
No
so
question.
71 moves on, but just for for fun here, 71 the movies were Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Dirty Harry, Fiddler on the Roof, just a couple of those from 71. 90, you had Ghost, you had Home Alone, Dances with Wolves, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well,
Pretty
hey.
Woman, Edward Scissorhands, Goodfellas, Kindergarten Cop. So we'll give it to 90s for the movies.
Okay.
Just to make them feel good over there. So, but 71 moves on.
Okay.
71 moves on.
There we go.
So that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
That was an easy one. How did who the heck did 71 beat? Or who the heck did 1990? No. Yeah. Who the heck did 1990 beat?
Who did they beat?
Let me look
Or
at
what
this
did
here.
they beat? Yeah, who? What?
Because I feel like that was just like a dominating performance. Where is 1990 on this thing? Going through the first sheet here. We've got okay, come on, Dan. We're 85, 94. Oh, 90 is okay. So 1990 beat 1987.
Yeah, I guess musically, I guess I can see that. Movie-wise, probably so. Sports-wise, yeah, I
mean, they're
guess.
probably. I mean, there's not a lot of gap in between the two. So
Yeah, I think that was probably close to a toss-up. But 71's just better. There was more iconic stuff that happened in 71.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, there you go. That was your quick edition of Showdown. How about that?
Yay.
So,
In and out.
we'll take our final break, and then we'll talk some more baseball. Brewers rubber match today, but their starting pitching is starting to get a little thin here at this point with Wade Miley now heading to the injured list. So, quick break, and then we'll be back to finish up this Wednesday show talking some baseball. Who's going to get Game 3? Next time we see these two teams, not till the end of September.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, May 19th, with Stamatic of Western Wisconsin. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Auto King, one king and one location only on Birch Street in Eau Claire.
Economy Furniture in Chippewa Falls is something that you gotta see. The biggest selection for miles around, 2 jam-packed floors of quality. At Economy, you don't have to wait for a sale. It can be yours immediately. Everyday low prices on the best brand names, and we finance it interest-free. Furnishing the Chippewa Valley since 1950. Economy Furniture's for me.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Koufax Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Koufax Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Koufax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit KoufaxChev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Koufax Chevrolet.
Want to stop engine problems before they start? Pick up a can of Seafoam Motor Treatment. Seafoam helps engines start easier, run smoother, and last longer. Just pour it in your fuel tank. Seafoam is available where automotive products are sold.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thanks for listening. And thanks for checking out our live stream on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks for not mentioning that spot on Dan's shirt.
Barbecue stain on my white t-shirt.
I guess that's why he never wears white.
You can't handle the truth.
The Dan Kasper Show.
couple days ago, but we got some odds on who the next head coach is going to be for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Who do we got?
Still Nick Nurse, even though it sounds like the Bucks have still not talked to the guy. At least it's been reported.
Maybe they want to do their due diligence with everyone else.
They've been casting a wide net. They've included now some more assistants, but Nick Nurse is the according to this is DraftKings. He's got a plus 125. Then it's followed up by newly fired coach Monty Williams plus 300. Charles Lee, their current assistant, at plus 400, tied with Kenny Atkinson, the assistant with Golden State's. Mark Jackson coming in at plus 500. Frank Vogel plus 900. Adrian Griffin plus 1,000. Chris Quinn, who's the assistant with the Heat, plus 1,200. Then Becky Hammond coming in at plus 1,500. Then everybody else is just like way on the outside. So,
including Doc Rivers.
You know what? Doc Rivers is not on here, but yeah, because now he's fired. I wonder where he would be put on there. Would he return to Milwaukee?
Yeah. What would you think of Doc Rivers' game to the Bucks?
No, thank you.
I mean, he is an NBA title-winning coach.
He's also lost a lot of game sevens.
Also that's true.
Doc Rivers is such an interesting, like he has such an interesting legacy as a coach. He really does. You know, started off, he got his first crack at Orlando because he was a TV commentator. I remember watching him on TV. Then goes to Orlando, but Orlando, you know, wasn't maybe kind of going through some stuff. But then he gets the Boston job, right? That was the next one he got. And they make a lot of moves. Danny Ainge makes a lot of moves. They win a championship. Maybe not as many as people thought they should have. Then what was his next move? The Clippers after that?
I think it was there another team in the middle?
I thought it was Clippers. Well,
Bringing
regardless,
up his coaching history, he's been the coach. Yeah, it's just those four.
Okay.
Magic from 99 to 03, Celtics 04 to 13, Clippers 13 to 20, Sixers 20 to 23, which means if he's going to be a coach again,
his fifth one.
It would be pretty quick. He turned 62 this October, so he's still got time left.
Yeah.
But you don't want Doc Rivers to be the
thing is, like, there's not a clear-cut candidate in my opinion. Like a lot of these top ones, they were guys who were fired or their going to be first-time assistant coaches. It's not really any guys that left on their own accord, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to leave and maybe take a year off or find a new venture. Or it's, I don't think there's that clear-cut favorite. I think whoever they hire, some will like, some won't like the move. It's just going to be that.
I mean, Nick Nurse was fired, but on the other hand, was that really like, did he do that poorly or was that Toronto management? I don't know.
But to play devil's advocate, just to play banter, was his coaching record good because of him or Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Did Doc Rivers succeed because that was the perfect year for the big three?
Right.
We don't know.
I mean, look at the teams he did go to where they did have some talent, but you could also say they did not win as much as they probably should have.
I mean, you could take this a step further with Mike Budenholzer, now in consideration to be Philadelphia 76ers head coach. Oh, boy, that would be fun to watch.
But look at, these are all retreads, you know.
But like Coach Bud's he's an NBA title winning coach. Now, is that because Giannis went off?
Right.
And look, also, for those who watched in real time, Mike Budenholzer started making adjustments in the playoffs. That was that's always been his big knock. Well, then he got flexible, and then they won. And yeah, I know there's the toe, the Kevin Durant toe. I get that, yeah. But so
let me ask you really quick. Say your Timberwolves were looking for a new head coach. Between these three, I'm going to give you three options.
Okay.
Mike Budenholzer, Monty Williams, or Doc Rivers. You know what? I'll throw Nick Nurse in there too. I feel like I know who you're going to pick.
Nick Nurse, number one.
That's what I feel. Okay, so take Nick Nurse away then.
Okay.
That's who I thought you were going to pick.
I think I would do not Mike Budenholzer, but I've seen part of that's because I've seen maybe too much, but I'm also not like, I think Budenholzer would be good for where the Timberwolves have been. He's not good for the quote unquote next step. I think I'd go Monty Williams. I think to a certain extent, Matt Ashiba fired him because it's new owner syndrome. And then Doc Rivers. But I'm generally high on Doc Rivers, and I think it can work. I think it might also be the players that he's got around him. Doc Rivers could, I think he could actually succeed with Milwaukee because I don't think he's got a mess under him for his players. The Clippers didn't have quite the right chemistry, and then
he was there with that whole ownership thing, I believe, too. Remember that?
Yep. Yeah, there have been some big messes he's had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a mess in Milwaukee. So I think it could work with the Bucks.
Reminder, he was named as one of the 15 greatest coaches in NBA history.
Yeah. But also, I don't think he would necessarily work in Minnesota. Right now, I don't think that's the best combination. This Gobert-Towns thing looks pretty shaky. Now, if they ever figured that out, if some player goes some way, whatever, and they revolve the team around Anthony Edwards, which is what I think they're trying to do ultimately, even though it seems like they're revolving it around Gobert right now. But if they did it the right way, I think it could work for Rivers. Right now, I don't think that would be a good move.
I am just throwing a wild card in this. I've said it a few times, but because remember the Athletic Eric Name said that the Bucks, this was a couple weeks ago, so maybe it was they were thinking Monty Williams because now they're talking Monty Williams, with Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But it said that the Bucks were also considering currently employed head coaches.
Yeah.
If I'm Taylor Jenkins, do I want to get out of Memphis right now?
Yeah, pretty quickly.
And he was an assistant in Milwaukee.
That actually might be my favorite move if you just have that pool. Now, if we do our analysis on all of the assistants, maybe one of them comes up better. But of the names, I think there's a pretty strong case to be made there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he might want to get out of Memphis at this point.
And he's won.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they haven't gone to the NBA Finals, but he's won with
has a relationship with Giannis.
Yeah. Just as long as he wasn't part of the whole spurring the team to be like, we're all that and all the thing around the Grizzlies over the past couple years. If he was just like, all right, well, I'm going to manage you guys, way better. But if he was pushing some of those guys to be all that on the court.
Like the Dylan Brooks, he was the guy to.
Yeah. And the Bucks are like the opposite. They're pretty much the polar opposite of that kind of team.
The only thing is with Taylor is he is a long-time Mike Budenholzer assistant too. So if somebody's like,
guess that's it. But then again, some of these coaching trees go south. So maybe this would be a coaching tree that goes the opposite way.
And it doesn't necessarily mean they're exactly like,
right.
Those coaches too. So
yeah.
But Wade Miley on the injury list. Brewers going to be down another starting pitcher. So if anybody's got any arm talent, you might want to give Matt Arnold a call at this point.
You interested?
Nope, I don't have any arm talent.
Okay,
so
cool.
Not me. But we'll see we'll find out later today after he goes under an MRI how long he's on the 15-day injury list now, but could be a little bit longer, which kind of sounds like it at this point. So,
oh boy.
Eric Lauer's short stint in the bullpen. You're back in the starting rotation.
Does this make it okay? If these injuries keep piling up, does this make it more or less likely that the Brewers would trade a potential underwhelming Corbin Burns or an underwhelming Adonis?
More. I think more.
Just because they're out of it.
Even though, they're still in first place, which is going to be the tricky part too. Because they play in a crappy division.
You think the Cardinals catch up? I was convinced they can't.
I think they
don't know
now.
I don't know.
Well, the only thing is that they don't play the Brewers again until the end of September. So Nolan Arenado can't continue to go off against the Brewers.
It's true. We keep forgetting this is not, and that we're now in balanced schedule territory.
Yeah. Think about that, though. The next time these two teams play, September 18th.
Part of me doesn't like that because I like the rivalry. On the other hand, it's a balanced schedule. It's probably better. It's more fair.
They play the Cardinals for 4 games, September 18th through 21st, and then again the final week of the regular season, September 26th.
Wow.
It'd be weird how those two teams, how are those two teams going to look at that point in time?
Oh, boy, that could be a heck of a series if the Brewers stay competitive.
Yep, exactly. Have a good Wednesday.
You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show on WAYY Eau Claire.